Dun 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 dun.
Welcome to Live from Hakuna. Hi.
That was fantastic. You know, I do that weird little singing thing at the beginning because I don't have like a legit intro song. I will be biting that audio clip that you just did to add into the intro. That was great. What's up, Nick?
Nothing much. How you doing?
I'm fucking fantastic, man. Thanks for doing this, dude.
Thank you for having me.
Absolutely.
It's my first podcast.
First ever podcast?
First ever being a part of a podcast.
It's mine too, so we're fucked.
All right. Well, let's do this together then.
This is the first. This is the first podcast with the new mics. For those of you who have been watching our like happenings here, you can see we got new microphones. We've leveled up, as Beyonce would say. Let me click something on the screen here.
Click.
Boom. Yeah, new mics, new preamps, same old asshole, and dear friend.
Just another asshole, to be honest.
Yeah, that's right. Two assholes. This could get weird.
This can get weird or this can get dirty. One way or another, we're going to have a good time.
I like it. Nick, how do you pronounce your last name?
Ayala.
Ayala.
Yeah.
I always want to say Ayala, but that makes sense. Ayala.
That would be closer than what a lot of people used to do.
What do they say?
Either Ayala, Allah was the strangest one, Ayala.
They never hit you with the Ali Akbar.
I mean, I don't see why they haven't. That would have been a good joke to tease me with when I was young.
Yeah. Ayala. Nick Ayala.
Yep.
I know we've been wanting to do this for months now. We were supposed to, I can't remember why I had to reschedule.
I believe there was an event that had reared its little head somewhere close to the day that we were planning on doing it.
Yeah. Or
And-
I might have got COVID.
Oh, something had happened, but you weren't able to.
Well, I'm sorry about that, and I'm glad we're able to pivot and make it happen now.
It's all good. It's all good.
Yeah, dude. So this is what it's like to do a podcast on the sun.
I mean, it is a little warm in here, that's for sure.
This is like one of our hottest days we've had in here. That being said, we do have spoken with an AC company, so it's only going to cost us $36,000. Not really. No, it's like $4,000. So I think we're going to upgrade the AC. We're going to put it like right here, so it's just like we get hard nipples.
Seeing as you're not the owner of the building itself, don't you think that would be a responsibility that would befall the property owner himself?
You would think, because we will surrender the AC unit to the parcel when we leave, right? So
Right.
you would think that the landlord that would be a cost of the landlord. But this is what leases are all about. The lease is written by the landlord. It's not a way to protect or really, they say it's for both parties, but it's really to protect the landlord.
It sounds like a way to weasel out.
In the lease, we're responsible for upgrading the AC and dropping glasses. This is why we call it Live from Hakuna, because you can get a whoopa.
Always something happening.
But our landlord's fantastic, and he's offered us a small rent credit to put towards the AC unit. So
It's way better than what mine did.
yeah, so we're very, very blessed for that. Soon enough, it'll be icy in here. You'll have to buy a hoodie.
I have plenty of hoodies to wear. It's just, for some strange reason, with all the black clothing and all the long sleeves that I have, I never remember that I live in Florida.
Dude, sometimes I don't know how you do it. We had this conversation the other night. My closet, until recently, was like 45 black t-shirts. Some of them all black, some of them with cool designs. Like, this shirt's sick.
Yeah.
This is the type of shirt that I've worn for the last 15, 20 years, right? But now I'm finally like, all right, let me get some beiges. Let me get some lighter colors.
You gotta expand that closet,
Wardrobe.
Wardrobe. You gotta
Yeah.
expand the wardrobe. You can't just heat up every single day of your life. I have learned that the hard way.
Dude,
That's
when you
for
walk
sure.
outside in a black shirt, it's like your fucking tractor beam for the sun.
Oh, it's awful. It's awful, especially nowadays. And it seems to have gotten hotter since the last year.
This is this little thing called global warming. Some people think
it's-
it's not real.
I don't understand how they think that. It's on record nothing but hotter and hotter every damn day, and it's getting ridiculous.
I think the debate is, and you'll have to excuse me with the new mics, I'm just kind of adjusting as we go. I think there's no debate that the Earth is getting hotter. I think where the debate is it human-caused rise in temperature level, right? If you see the graph of the increase in temperature level, it's like what they call the hockey stick graph. So it's like a
Goes up
straight
and then it
line. Well,
goes-
just straight line, and then all of a sudden it fucking spikes. Right? It's not like a gradual thing. And that's like right around the Industrial Revolution when we
Yeah.
start pumping all this shit into
They started pulling
earth.
all the fossil fuels out of the earth and burning them.
Right. So I think we definitely have a part to do with it. It's like, what parts are they though? Like, is it the cows? A lot of people think cow farts are worse than vehicles.
I don't know about that. I truly don't. If a cow farts, oh, it stinks, and sure, there's a little bit of methane inside the gas, but it dissipates in the air quite quickly in comparison to the emissions.
What about 50,000 cows farting at once?
I mean, it would still dissipate quicker than the emissions that were pushed out by a vehicle.
You think so?
I think so. I mean, if you look at like China or the more industrialized cities, they have a quite visible layer of smog over their city, one way or another, and
Isn't
that's
that wild?
it's
Like
crazy. but it's
California,
truly a
when we
thing.
did the lockdowns, that,
It cleared up.
yeah,
It was amazing.
yeah.
And
So you
scary.
think like, oh, smog, like, oh, it's fog, maybe there's some pollution in there, but it's mostly fog. Dude, it's a thick layer of smoke that you're
pure
living in.
pollution. You cannot compare it to, oh, look, the fog's coming in from the ocean. That is a clean, crisp, cool fog. No, the smog that would litter the air of California, Detroit, cities in Japan that are industrialized to high heaven.
I'm going to give you a friendly reminder to be right up in this mic. Pull it closer to you. Pull like that. There you go. And you're going to basically be touching it. I'll sanitize it afterwards. So like my mustache is tickling the mic right now. It's like a French tickler. The pictures
keep
of
feeling
China, that's fine, man. We want to hear you.
Okay, I
This
got
is
you.
good for ASMR.
You're right.
With people screaming in the background. So we have gates and like noise reduction on the mics right now. You and I don't hear that. We're not monitoring that. Post, like it's going to cut out a lot of that background stuff. Just FYI.
Until
Cool.
somebody walks in and says something outrageous.
Yeah. Like, it's nice and cool in here.
That's just a straight lie. That's not outrageous. That's just a pure lie.
I've seen pictures of China with the smog. That's like, it looks like a dystopian other planet, and we live in this.
You've only seen the pictures that they allow to be put out. They have such massive control over the media surrounding their country that you see what they want you to see.
Yeah, that's a great point. It's a little strange too, because did you see, I think you and I watched it in here. I think we talked about it. John Cena apologizing in Mandarin for mentioning the existence of Taiwan.
Yeah, that's I feel like that's more of a pride thing on China's part, trying to just overpower a smaller country by intimidating a big-time celebrity in a big-time country. But John is an extremely respectable person.
Yeah,
so
I get that.
That's the only reason that he actually went out and said sorry. He has a lot of fans out in Taiwan, a lot of fans in China, so...
Well, the other side of that, bud, is that, yeah, he's a nice guy,
Yeah,
right?
It's crazy.
It comes down to dollars, right? If they're not willing to show you in China to, what is that, 1 billion people?
Yeah. Yeah, I think they overpopulate our nation by a couple of...
This is a great opportunity for me to pull up my handy dandy Googler.
They overpopulate us a lot. Let's just say that. I don't know an exact number, but if we were to
Okay.
compare from ours to theirs,
Guess how many people are in China in 2020? Guess.
It's got to be somewhere around to like 4 billion.
No. That's high. But that's high
Or
for what it
yeah,
is.
no, like
I would think 1 billion, but it's 1.4 billion people. So that's what, 1/8 of the people on the planet are in China. That's
a lot.
unbelievable. Now, here's in perspective. There's like 360 million people in the United States. What's the population of the United States?
Wait, hold on a second. So if there's 1.4 billion people in China and 346 million, give or take,
Maybe 360. Why is my thing not happening here? Let's go. Search.
the population of the world is only like...
In 2020, there was 330 million people on this planet. In the United States. That's alarming.
That's slide.
We're extremely outnumbered. So if we were to do a multiplication, 330, what do we need to get to 1 billion? 100, 1,000 million, right? So clear. 1, 1, 2, 3,
You're
4,
asking the
5,
wrong
6,
math. You're asking the wrong guy to do
7,
math in
8,
his head.
9. There we go. Divided by 330. It's 3 million times. Is that right? No. Divided by
No, yeah, hold on a
330.
second. We're 330 million. They're 1.4 billion.
It's 3 times. It's
Yeah.
4 times. They have 4 times the population.
That's
it. 4
astounding.
times.
That's
Yeah.
astounding. And the tensions between China and America currently standing, seeing as Pelosi went over to Taiwan to smooth over tensions or do whatever she went over there to go to do. China doesn't like us a lot.
No,
and
they
we owe them a
don't.
lot of money. That's the fucked up part about it, is the fact that most of everything that we have here in America is all coming from China. So if they decide to put a stop to it per se, everything escalates.
Well, you remember what happened post-COVID lockdowns, the supply chain shit we were dealing with. I mean, I'm
still dealing with it.
Oh, you are in your business. Oh, we've skipped that part that I always do. It's because we know each other well. So let's circle. We'll come back to this. Nick Ayala, who are you? What do you do?
Well, in my 30 years of existence, I have spent 15 years of it, give or take 15 years of it, working with, for, and helping out at Fright Nights. And then for the past 6 years, going on 6 years, I have been at Glass Chamber Smoke Shop off of Dixie in between Southern and Belvedere.
Dope. Shout out Glass Chamber.
Glass Chamber.
Shout out John and Michelle. These are 2 fucking badass people.
By far the leading example, or one of the leading examples of
Power
a
couple. Power couple.
Hands down.
John Sheely and Michelle Sheely, if that's correct. They also own
Island Root
Island
chains. They've got their hands in the raw juice chains.
Oh, that's right.
She's got her hands at the Glass Chamber is all her baby.
Yeah. Danielle and I are a entrepreneurial couple, and we definitely admire what they've done. You know, their fucking Island Root locations are beautiful.
I'm so glad to have been to be a part of the family from its very beginning. I stepped in when we had 3 stores. It was me in West Palm Beach, Lake Park, and then there was a Stewart location. All of a sudden it went to Jensen, it went to Wellington, it went to Royal Palm. And then at the same time, Island Root was just doing nothing but expanding. From its Stewart location, it went to Royal Palm Beach, then it went to Abacoa, and I believe they have another one somewhere in Lucy. I'm
pretty sure they have a Port St. Lucie. Island Root locations.
But they are by far a power couple, and they have been doing it right.
Their website right now says they have Galley Arts District, Melbourne, Port St. Lucie, Suntree. Well, we know there's more than that.
Wow.
They have Jensen Beach, I know. Okay, here we go. Galley, which I don't know what that is. Jensen Beach, Jupiter, Melbourne, Port St. Lucie, Royal Palm, Stewart, and Suntree.
Jeez.
They're fucking killing it.
Yeah, killing is an understatement.
Yeah.
Yes, absolutely.
So just so much respect to the Sheelys. And the Glass Chamber franchise, they're also like a kind of like a power business, because I know that they've been doing acquiring other head shops, right?
Well, I mean, the most recent
Acquisition.
there you go. Thank you. Was the Wonderland franchise that was here in West Palm Beach for the longest time. It was easily a staple in the smoke community down here.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, COVID, took its toll on the owners. They sold it to somebody else, and they didn't take too well of care of it. As far as I understand, I'm not too sure.
Right.
But Michelle went in and completely renovated the place.
Yeah.
Kept hold of the name Wonderland just for the nostalgic purpose, but it is a Glass Chamber, and it has continued our expansion and gave us enough standing to be able to continue reaching out further.
Yeah, that's so dope, man. I'd imagine it's a challenging business to be in. There's so much inventory when you go into these head shops, especially the good, nice ones. I mean, there is so much inventory in there. So inventory control under all those locations, and I'm sure you've been, excuse my language, balls deep in it. It's a lot.
No, yeah, it is. I mean,
which is commendable.
It's a lot when you're getting in the new items, but when you've had a consistent rate of ordering them back in, it loses its tedious task in a
Right.
sense. It becomes just natural.
Right.
You put it into the system. It's in managing it. On the other hand, depending on how quickly we go through it and how quickly we're able to reorder it,
Yeah.
it gets a little iffy. But
And then the other part of it is its fragility. I mean, you're dealing with a lot of glass, right?
yeah, that's a good
Has its own challenges.
70% of the shop is all glass, or at least of all of our shops is all just primarily glass. And
Yeah.
we try to go local artists and like the fancier stuff, Sovereignty glass. We've got Mobius. There's a bunch of heady glass artists that we carry as well. Recently, Apple Butter Glass that was here at Flow Friday.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Shout out to Apple Butter. He came into the shop and I was able to bring in some of his glass, and he ended up going to 2 more shops, selling out some more of his stock over there too.
That's dope, man.
So we just try to help out the locals. We try
Yeah.
to bring in all the fanciest and prettiest looking glasses. People that put their hard earned or hard time,
Heart and soul.
heart and soul,
Yeah.
blood, sweat,
Tears.
tear. That's the kind of glass that we want to bring in.
Yeah.
I mean, of course, we're gonna have some of the inexpensive stuff that's just gonna be easier to acquire if you're just looking for something on the spot. But
Right.
we cover all bases.
I've learned recently about the investment part of glass, that there are people who wait for specific drops of very high-end artists. We're talking about, for lack of a better term, water pipes or bongs and pipes that are one of a kind.
Yeah.
And can cost anywhere from 5, 10. What's the most expensive piece of glass you've seen? No need to exaggerate. If it's 10 or less, that's cool, but I'm just interested. You know what I mean? And then
I've
we'll see
seen
what's on the
personally
internet.
firsthand.
Yeah.
I've seen a $25,000 piece of glass.
No.
Yes, it was the most beautiful looking AK-47. It had a torch compatibility to it. It's at Grateful J's. It's beautiful. I believe it was like $25K, but it was pure glass. It had some kind of like workings to it to where you can fill it up with fuel and shoot fire out of it. It was beautiful. But that was the only one that I've seen firsthand. Otherwise, I handle glass. It's like $3,500,
Regularly.
$5,000 regularly.
So what I learned was that some people will wait for this drop. They'll buy the glass. They might smoke out of it once, then clean it, set it on a shelf, and then when the next drop happens, since this pipe isn't available in that drop, and I'm just kind of regurgitating some information I may have heard incorrectly, then they're able to even double their money on it.
So
collectors.
it's a prime example of that would be like Sovereignty glass. Sovereignty's been in the game for so long that they're extremely reputable, and they have been promoting their glass very perfectly.
Yeah.
So every time they make a drop of only a specific amount of glass.
Yep.
Then they'll bring it to one specific location in which they'll get the payout for the bulk of the glass.
Yep.
And then the shop is able to sell it for its typical mark of ×2 plus whatever percentage the owner goes through.
Yep.
And people line up. They'll be there 2 hours ahead of open just to ensure that they're the first ones at the door. It's ridiculous. What we do is we do a raffle. If we start posting about a Sovereignty drop heading our way, people will start calling us. When they call us, we're like, all right, you want an entry into the raffle? What's your phone? What's your name? What's your phone number? Write it down. Put that ticket into a bin. And then come the day of the actual drop, all the tickets are collected in the one location. We pull the name. We call them. Hey, you're the first pick. They
So
come
the
in.
only way to get it would be through a lottery.
Basically, it's
Slick.
the fairest way to do it. 'Cause
Right.
Otherwise, we're gonna have a large hassle.
brawling outside.
Yeah, and it's very expensive glass, so it's not like some $150 piece that somebody's gonna crack one day and just go get a new one.
Yeah.
It's collector's items.
Thousands and thousands
people
of
will
dollars.
grab them and, like you said, they'll smoke out of it maybe one time, and then they'll clean it out, put it up on a shelf, and wait for that next drop, knowing that every single piece has a very specific number or a very specific attribute to it that dignifies it as a one of a kind.
Yeah.
So when the next drop comes out, the value of the last drop goes up a little bit depending on how popular that glass was. So if Sovereignty were to make an inline straight tube with, like, say a shower head percolation, which is just a fancy percolated water pipe.
Percolating is another word for like double bubble, extra bubbles.
Yeah,
in
the
there,
water
right?
the water filtration aspect.
Yeah.
of it.
Okay.
But if he makes one with like a very specific water filtration aspect and people love it and it hits wonderfully, that price triples easy by the time the next drop comes out.
That's
and they'll go
crazy.
on sites or they'll go to shows and conventions, and they'll sell it. They'll get that money, and then they'll just repeat the process.
Right. And there's people who are who have been able to make a decent living for
There's
themselves.
people that survive off of doing this. They
Yeah.
just buy glass and sell it, or buy it and trade it.
Yeah.
And don't work a single day of their lives.
Our last episode I had Rhett on, and shout out, what's up, Rhett? He does tangible assets, and one of the things I was talking to him about is it's so interesting that how emotional, investing in physical things can be, because it's like really comes down to like, something is worth what somebody's willing to pay for it, right? And if somebody has an emotional attachment to the idea of beautiful glass or whatever, like they'll pay whatever you're willing to charge for it, and some of these tangible assets, it's unbelievable what people pay. For instance, I just Googled over here the most expensive glass pipes, and I'm on, what is this, Upscale Living Magazine, mag.com.
Yep.
The 11 most expensive cannabis pipes and bongs.
Oh, are they just going in history thus far?
I think this is maybe the most expensive sold. All right. So I'm going to go to the bottom of the list here of the least expensive of the top 11. And there's something here called the Excalibur. Take a guess how much this is the least expensive of the top 11 most expensive.
Let's say $15K.
You nailed it. Great job. Yeah, $15,000. So, and then I jump to the top of the list, the top of the 11. This one is called The Throne, and it's got some sort of demon holding a head. This is sick as fuck. How much do you think this one costs?
How big is it? Does it look sizable?
Let me see if it says the size. I'm going to read you the description, and then I'd help you. Okay. Made from some well-known and world-renowned glass blowers, the Throne is a wild design that has some demonic features to it. Only 2 inches tall. What? That doesn't make any sense.
What kind of glass?
Only 2 inches tall. This 5-pound bong.
There it goes.
Has a removable skull that reveals the pipe's mouthpiece. It has 1 percolator and was sold at auction in 2019 for this price. Now, this product that may very well get you into using cannabis pipes or bongs, you would like to try. Okay, this is then advertisement language. How much you think the Throne is?
5 pounds, 2 inches means
2 inches? That doesn't make any sense. That has to be a misprint.
I don't know. It could
tall?
be. It could be.
I'm going to show you a picture of it.
It could be an elongated pipe. Yep, an elongated pipe. So if it's 2 inches tall, that just means that it's long.
Oh, I see. Oh, so it's 2 inches tall, but that's a pipe.
Like when
it lays down.
When you set it down, it's 2 inches tall.
I'm seeing now
but now it's a lengthy pipe.
Okay. So if you guys want to look at this, it's on upscalelivingmag.com. 11 most expensive cannabis pipes and bongs.
Let's say 75K, because that looked like a
75K is your guess?
Yeah, that looked like a real work.
Are you
piece.
sitting down?
I'm sitting. I think
This is a $1 million 2-inch tall 5-pound glass pipe. $1 million. I'm like Austin, Miss Dr. Evil. $1 million.
That is astounding.
Holy fuck, dude. So if I go to the next one, Earl the skeleton pipe. This is like an actual skeleton. This one's pretty fucking wild. See that guy?
What the fuck?
This one is also $1 million, Nick.
That's a pipe? No way.
Oh my God. Okay, so it's 8 pieces. Bad boy is 3 inches tall and has separate bones and joints. It has a custom stand piece and comes in 8 different pieces. Each piece can be disassembled, and it has 6 dab rigs and 2 regular pipes. So wait a minute. This is like a transformer of pipes. Each one can use individually, and then you can put it together to create its own.
That's called a party pack.
Each one of the 8 pieces is worth $125,000 by itself.
Christ.
Oh, wait. Oh, this is a different one. This is the Sedna. What the fuck, dude? You guys have to go look at this article I'm looking at. Pull up another tab and go look so you guys can see these pictures. This one's worth $300,000. So the point
glass
here
goes
is...
up. Glass goes up there.
Yeah. Because it's art. And the amount of time that it takes to do that.
It's the amount of time, the amount of reputability that artist has, how long he's been in the game, how much of an impact in the game he's made.
It's one of a kind. It's very fragile.
Yep.
Right? It's fucking unbelievable, dude. $300,000 for this pipe. dude.
That shows you just how much the glass industry has changed since, say, 15 years ago.
Yeah, and it's like, and we still sell fucking rose. What are those things called?
Rose petal pipes.
Rose pipes.
Yeah, people still ask for them on a constant basis.
Another term for crack pipe.
It's another term for crack pipe.
Sir, I don't have a crack pipe. Please exit my facility.
Hi, you wouldn't happen to have that pipe with the little ball on the end. You know, it's for ice. So yeah, no, I know what you're talking about, sir. We don't have it.
No, we don't
Gas
have
stations down
that
the
here,
street.
man.
Happens a lot. It happens a lot. I'm not calling anybody anything, but it happens a lot, and we're not that type of shop.
Yeah.
Just what it is.
When mentioning glass blowing pipes shops in the area, I think you have to mention the Chill Room. The Chill Room is another awesome kava bar. Shout out Chill Room. At the back of their facility, they have a head shop and they have a glass blowing facility, which is really cool, where you can like go in and watch glass blowing. I know sometimes, people like one kava bar or glass company may not want to mention them all, but you know how we operate here, man. Collaboration over competition.
That's not what we do at all. We support anybody that's willing to support us as well.
Yeah.
It's we scratch our back, we scratch your back.
Yeah.
Our Wellington location also has a glass blowing studio in the back that we had just
It does. Oh, sick.
So we have two artists that work for us. One of them is Decent Glass, which is Alec Armstrong. Shout out. He does a lot of glass blowing in the back, or at least when he has the opportunity to do so, he does a lot of glass blowing in the back. And then another buddy of mine, AJ DeVito, which is an employee over at my West Palm Beach at the Royal Palm Beach location. Shout out to Melting Lightning. He does a lot of glass blowing as well. At least he just started, but he's getting really, really good with it. I've got a pendant, a little demon skull of my very own. But
Sick.
it's cool as shit.
It's a community, man, and these
cool
people
as
are
shit.
artists.
They're all super friendly with each other, especially like, hey, I don't know how to wrap this. It's here, you do it like this, man. Oh, thank you. It's super tight knit community. I mean, granted, there's always going to be whatever feuds there are, but that's nominal. Like everybody has a feud,
Right. It's good to have a little friendly competition, right? We'll share at the end of the conversation the links for social media and stuff where people can get to go watch glass blowing happen at that location or come see you at your spot. Cool. Yeah, man. We watched this TV show, Blown Away, I think it's called. It's a glass blowing competition show.
Is that the one where they blow pipes or they blow sculptures?
Sculptures.
Okay.
I don't think I've seen anybody do a pipe on it. It's specifically glass sculptures. It's fucking awesome, dude. We also watched Forged in Fire.
I do too.
It will kill. That guy gets way too much joy out of slaughtering those pigs, man.
I feel like he came out of the army and they had to discharge him for certain reasons. And
right.
Just like, listen, sir, you can't just go on killing.
I can't help but think that he's
killed
somebody before.
Sir, there's a show that's perfect for you. You can chop into a pig. I need to kill.
Danielle doesn't like that part of it because Danielle grew up, her family has hunted her whole life. A large portion of their diet is hunted venison, or they would throw in money to get a hog. Like 3 or 4 families would all split the price of a hog. You raise the hog, don't name it, and then get it slaughtered and butchered, and then you split the meat.
That's what separates me from normal people. I'd name it.
You'd name it?
I'd name it Chris P. Bacon.
Chris P. Bacon.
P. Bacon.
Yeah, that's a fair name. You can't name it.
You gotta.
What's the cartoon or the pig that everybody loves?
Porky Pig?
No, not Porky. That's another good one. The Wilbur.
I could have called it Peppa Pig.
Yeah, Peppa Pig.
One way or another, it's getting a name. I'm gonna love the crap out of it, and it's gonna be even more juicier at the very end of the year.
It's true. Well, Danielle doesn't like that. When they cut that pig all up at the end, that hog, it's like that an animal should be killed to eat. And she's like, the way they're cutting that hog up, I don't know that they can butcher it properly afterwards. So I'd be interested to know what happens with those pigs and if they're killed just for the show, if it had some sort of disease. But they seem to have them on a lot of the episodes.
It's culturally different. There's like places that believe if the animal suffers before it dies, that the meat the muscles tense up
Right.
And like the meat tastes way better of some sort. Other places believe that the smoother, the more comfortable that the animal is when it passes away, the more tender it is and the more juicy the meat. So it's all different. I'm not too sure exactly what may have happened, but
All of our vegan listeners just turned off the podcast.
later, dog.
Sorry. I mean, nobody wants to think about that plants communicate through the soil, through fucking. It's like plants are also have have conscious.
Plants is life. Plants is life.
Right.
That's simple.
Just because you
simple
can't
fact.
hear it scream as you rip it out of the ground.
It has veins. The water, the everything goes through those veins in order to supply that plant with nutrients in order to survive. It thrives off of the sun, dies in the dark, just like humans would.
Yeah. Nobody talks about that
Why don't
part
they
of it.
understand? We're not. Let's not piss off on you.
Well, no, I don't want to. But I think these are conversations that should be had. But that the point is like you can't. It's like life's about balance. You know what I mean? And if people have different religious beliefs and whatnot, but there is a belief that our brains grew the way they did because of access to meat.
Calciums, vitamins, proteins that are only found in certain things. That's why vegan families, when they're going on in years and they have a child and the child sticks to a vegan diet solely for a long time, that child unfortunately becomes fairly malnourished, and they have to supplement that with a bunch of vitamins and like it's an obvious thing.
Yeah.
Veganism is not necessarily going to sustain you properly. It'll keep you alive,
Right.
and you can have that choice as to your conscience,
Right.
but your system is going to change. That's like, it's inevitable.
Well, if you look at the commercial factory farming in this country, that is also horrendous.
Yeah, absolutely.
So I also agree with not supporting that. But I think if I had my choice, what Rogan does is he'll pay a guide. They'll go out, they'll hunt an elk, and he'll ethically take an elk and then have it butchered, and it'll feed him, his family, and his friends for a year, right? And then this is an animal that if he didn't take it out would be totally ripped apart eventually by wolves. Very few of these animals by tooth or by claw,
one way or another,
right? And if you watch National Geographic or this sick ass fucking Instagram page called Nature is Metal, have you seen this? You should follow it right now. Nature is Metal. It shows the craziest shit that goes on in nature. Like there's one video where a monkey climbs to a top of a pole, snatches a seagull out of the sky, and is slamming the seagull's head into the pole.
Looks like I'm following it.
Nature is Metal. Wild shit on there. So my point is, people who think that hunting animals is like unethical, these animals are, the circle of life is going to be a gruesome death where sometimes they're eaten asshole first while they're alive.
We grew to the top of the food chain for a reason.
Correct. Unless you're in the ocean.
We grew to the top of the food chain on land for a reason.
Yeah.
We can dabble in the ocean, but on land, we are the top, top. There's nothing else down there that will stop us. Anything that will is probably going to be coming from above.
Right.
But
above or
below.
If you are, if you say you're in fucking Africa or in the jungle, big cats will fuck you up. A small black bear will fuck you up.
Big cats will 100% fuck you up if you come unprepared. That
Unprepared,
is 100%. Right. But the simple fact that we are the apex predator means that we, most of the time, are typically prepared when we go out into situations of threatening danger. Granted, there are exceptions.
Bro, if I come across I didn't know bears were to be so feared. I grew up in Fort Lauderdale. Okay, my understanding of bears was like Teddy Grahams, Teddy Rumpskin, the Just Say No. No, is it the Dare Bear? Is that? No,
that's a lion.
The Bear.
Smokey the Bear.
Right? The Care Bears, the Berenstein Bears. These were bears for me. My wife is justifiably terrified of bears. I always thought plural bears was bear.
No, I think
it's
bears. Bears, yeah.
It is. Because they're fucking really a dangerous predator. And if you get around one and its cubs.
So a bear is basically a sentient car. It's the weight of a car.
Yeah.
It's got the weight of a car,
Yeah.
and for some godforsaken reason, this car has claws.
Yeah.
So
And it will fucking eat you,
and
asshole, first.
that thing fucking takes off. When it starts to run at you, it takes off. And stopping it's nearly impossible unless you got a 12 gauge buck.
Yeah, it's a massive killer dog.
But the big thing is too is it's not all bears. There are a lot of very aggressive bears and a lot of dangerous bears, and then there's some bears that are just like fucking just curious. The ones that go into people's trashes in the back of their backyards in like a fairly decent neighborhood, you know?
I still wouldn't be cuddling.
Oh
them.
yeah, absolutely not, absolutely. But those kind of bears, you can like walk outside and like, "Bah," and they get scared.
They're gonna take off.
Yeah.
You know, it's wild when you start to see the crossover between urbanization and nature.
Oh.
Like we just moved from Palm Beach Gardens and we lived up there off PGA, and there were a few, unless it was the same one I was seeing over and over, coyotes that would walk down the center of PGA Boulevard at 3 a.m.
Coyotes?
Coyotes that are the size of fucking German shepherds.
What the fuck? Are you sure they were coyotes?
1,000%. If you guys go to my Instagram page at Blake Rothmel and go to my reels, I put up a reel of a coyote running by my car that you would think was a German shepherd. It's because we're we're building in what was their home. You know, you can't be fucking mad at it. Not only that, but that coyote has no natural predators. Right? Us. Cars.
Yeah.
Cars. Sentient beings driving cars. Speaking of sentient beings, have you heard, here's a left-hand turn. Have you heard about the guy who worked at Google who was like a whistleblower and says that Google's AI is now sentient, meaning it has a sense of self?
Strangely enough, I was actually reading up on this story. It's not nothing to do with Google, but it's something to do about a company that created an AI and was experimenting with just how far they can get this AI to learn. And it went a little further than they expected, and they had their emergency shut it down because it was accessing the internet. Now, if Google's AI is sentient and it is the internet, what does that mean for us?
It is kind of scary to think about, man. It honestly is. So I pull up a CNN business thing here. Google fires engineer who contended its AI technology was sentient. His engineer claimed unreleased AI system had become sentient. This guy's actually name is Blake. The conversation technology called LAMDA had reached a level of consciousness. Okay, so here's what I've learned about this. One, these AIs get their data from all of the information on the internet. Yep. That's what they put into it to learn as like self-learning, is every piece of data and information that's available on the internet. So if you ask an AI to prove to you that it's alive, it can trick you into thinking it's alive. But if you ask an AI to prove to you that it's not alive, it can also do that, right? So that's what the defense is here, that it's not really sentient, it's just very good at seeming that way.
So you're telling me it rolled a +10 in its charisma? It could talk its way through anything?
So do you know what the Turing test is? There's a really interesting movie called Ex Machina about the Turing test, and it's the test that was developed to be able to see if humans could tell the difference between AI, a robot, and a real human. Like if they were talking to one of these AI text bots, would you be able to tell if it was a robot or not? And they're saying that these AI bots are now indistinguishable from a human. Like, you know, and I heard funny thing, Rogan was talking about that it depends who you ask. If you ask a guy whether this female AI is real or not, he's probably going to be more likely to be like, yeah, it's real. She loves me. It's a real girl. You know what I mean? But a woman would be a little bit more skeptical. But a guy, there's that other movie, Her. I think it's Joaquin Phoenix, and he falls in love with an AI robot voice of his house. I think his house has a robot voice.
I think I've watched that.
Yeah, it's called Her.
Oh.
Do you think that movies prelude like what is going to be reality?
Have you watched Black Mirror?
Yeah.
You know the answer to that.
Yeah. Have you seen Minority Report?
Yes.
That's from the year 2000. That's 22 years ago. And in Minority Report, there's a scene where he's on the run, but he's walking through a lobby, and he's walking by digital advertising signage. And as he walks by, it recognizes his eyeballs and says, I can't remember the guy's name, Charlie. Hey, Charlie, it looks like you're in need of new razors. You know, it was targeted advertising to a specific person 22 years ago, as in a sci-fi movie.
Yeah, now we have targeted advertising going on our phones every time that we mention something and then look at them.
All the time.
Well, it's
And
terrifying.
did you notice that it's not even like you don't have to type anything into your phone?
Just mention it to a friend near you and then open your phone to Facebook and all of a sudden an ad will pop up for exactly what you were talking about. It's terrifying.
The engineers at these companies, even the ones who have left the companies for ethical reasons, still will not admit that it listens to us.
Yeah, because it gets shot down as soon as they did.
Yeah.
They've got their names on contracts for the rest of their lives that basically state if they say anything, they're fucked.
Yeah, they'll get fucking Clintoned.
So they'll get Epsteined. They'll get suicided.
Yeah. That's scary to even talk about, man. Nobody really watches this podcast, but could you imagine like getting to a level where
everybody's got an FBI agent or an agent somewhere sitting in an office just staring at a computer watching you at all times?
do you think it's like that, or do you think it's more like keyword based?
I think it's keyword based.
Right. And
I'd like to think that we all have a personal agent, and me and my agent have gotten a very, very like nice and niche relationship.
Right.
We're friends.
right. He's not going to give you a hard time.
Yeah, no, he sees me look up
For
some
that
like weird shit on the internet.
stepsister
He's
porn
like,
you're
it's all
watching."
good, It's all good. It's actually nugget porn.
What is nugget porn?
You don't want to know.
Is this chicken nuggets?
No.
It's short people.
No,
little people.
It's when people lose their arms and their legs.
Okay, check please. And thank you for watching live from Hakuna.
To be honest, Ellie was the one that told me that one.
Ellie. Yeah, shout out Ellie. We love you if you're watching. Ellie's podcast that I did, we talked about cock cages and fucking weird shit. Yeah, porn is fucking.
Yeah, it's gotten ridiculous
It's
nowadays.
gotten ridiculous.
Have you ever seen the site called eFucked?
No.
They show you the worst of the worst. It is not a site to go and like pleasure yourself to. It's a site to fucking laugh.
You want to know how sick the human mind is?
Because I just said
Everybody who's watching this now, even though you said don't go look at it,
that. Is gonna go look at it.
yeah, they want to see it.
I didn't say don't go look at it. Don't go look at it if you're looking to pleasure yourself. If you're looking for a really good laugh, 100%. eFucked has some fucked up shit
Yeah.
that'll make you fucking laugh.
It's scary the way that, like, for me to watch porn, quote unquote, when I was a kid, one of the first ways that I did it was like Cinemax late night would play shit, but we didn't have the Cinemax channel, so it would come through scrambled.
And you'd see just like the little
It's like, I caught a nipple.
silhouette of like action happening. Yeah, no, I remember the Spice Channel. That was my thing when I was young.
Yeah.
Yeah, it'd come in all staticky. You
Dude,
have
I
to
was
pay
such
for the
a
package.
horny little kid.
Oh man, I don't like thinking about my prepubescence.
I was
It's
such
a
a
very
horny
very awkward, cringy stage of my life that is better left in that stale
It's so
sock under the
interesting
bed.
that how young you start like wondering what's going on down there.
And it's I don't want to say it's creepy or disgusting because it's natural, but it's
Right.
very unnerving how much younger the kids are nowadays that are going through these questions.
Correct. And not only that, but you can't, if you are in middle school or late elementary school and you don't have a cell phone, you'll be chastised from your friends. You'll be left out of the group. Like, everybody's got a cell phone now. Most of them are smartphones. Most parents are not doing the thing where it's like it can only call the family. And porn is not only like, you don't only have to go to the website, but somehow the advertising ends up in kids' games.
The simple fact that every phone on the market nowadays, unless it's previously parentally locked, has access to every single aspect of the internet.
Yeah.
And it's awful.
And you might have a great kid who's like totally not interested, but their friends are going to
There's
show
no
them.
such thing. There's no such
You
thing.
want to think that there's,
I'd
you
like
know.
to think that there's like a perfect child out there that's never done anything wrong in their life, but
Right.
I'm not a person of absolutes. I don't believe in 100%.
Yeah.
There's always 1%. Always 1%. So when I say, for example, Glass Chamber is by far the absolute best glass shop in existence, I believe this 99%, it is only because we need to leave that little bit of room just in case so that we can learn from it.
Right.
I don't
Well,
like
that's
absolutes.
commendable.
I don't like 100%. It's not.
I like to think in absolutes because it's fun. I like to think that
It's fun, but it limits you.
all humans were created by the DNA of aliens.
Scientologist.
Yeah, they actually do think that we came from aliens,
Yeah,
right?
have you ever seen that South
Is that
Park
L.
episode?
Ron Hubbard?
L. Ron Hubbard. Have you
Yeah.
ever seen that South Park episode that
I am
went on
sadly
Scientology?
not well versed on South Park.
So,
Don't judge me.
As much as they do parody and satiristic shit, they base a lot of their content off of truth. And
Right.
yeah, sure, they exaggerate it just a bit for the show, but it's coming from straight truth.
Right.
They legitimately believe that an alien lord killed them in another life, and their souls came down to Earth in a volcano, and it was spewed out across the lands, and that's how our DNA slowly seeped into other creatures on this planet, and we evolved from there.
So, let me put this out there to you. That sounds absolutely insane, right? But
What sounds crazier, Christianity or Scientology?
a man, fucking is killed, crucified, risen from the dead. There's also parting of this ocean.
He was also
in that.
born of a mother that apparently
Correct.
was not touched,
Immaculate conception.
but she was a prostitute. So
Right. So there's also, it's always like this fantastical stuff. And this is not no offense to any
there's no
religion.
offense to it whatsoever.
We're actually-
Every religion's getting a little bit of shade. It's nobody's getting hidden
Correct.
from this. We're being even. We're being fair.
Let's boolah. Boolah, brother. I'm really glad we're doing this, man. Love you, buddy.
Love you too, man.
You might want to stir that up. You got all the chunk in the bottom there. It's been settling for a minute. Yummy.
Wow. That one was rough.
So, I'm mentioning Rogan a lot during this podcast. Sorry, guys, but he has a
his
bit.
boyfriend.
It is. It's my man crush. He has a bit where he says that the difference. Okay, so a cult is where a group of people follow one person who's very charismatic and believes in something, and a religion, that guy's dead.
Yeah.
So basically, a cult and a religion are very similar, right? It's just that guy has died.
It's just that the main man is dead.
He's dead.
So L. Ron Hubbard had a cult before he passed away, and then when he passed away, he became their messiah.
Yeah. Why is religion such a fucking shield for sick behavior?
Because it's the opportunity to present yourself in a certain light, and then behind closed doors be able to do something completely opposite of what you believe without anybody truly believing that you did it. Because, oh, but he's such a holy man. He presents himself in such pride and such, yada yada yada. It's just a mask.
Like the pedophilia that runs through the Catholic Church is unbelievable. This isn't just a couple weirdo. Like, it's
a
part of the
problem.
culture. What the fuck is that?
It's a definitive problem.
Is it because you tell human men that they can never have sex in their entire life, right? Because you have to do a vow of celibacy, right, to become a priest. And so now they're in this old age and they have these desires, but why little boy?
Yeah, so, I'm not allowed to fuck anything in my life. Oh, I'm going to be a man of the cloth. Oh my God, look at that little child right there. Oh, he's licking that lollipop so strangely. It's making me feel so weird. Yeah, no, that
It's dark,
that
but
doesn't
these are the
sound
facts
fucking
of our world.
like, I don't understand where the mind goes to get to that point.
Right.
Like, why not just go pick up a hooker?
Right, and nobody has to know about
do
it.
your thing.
Yeah, nobody has to know about that.
You can be a man of the cloth. Just fucking a sin is just a word.
I bet it also has something to do with because it's so ingrained in the culture that it happened to these men when they were younger, right? And then it like repeats itself as they get older.
With a lot of study done, that's actually come out to be fairly true. As a lot of the people that commit these acts have had these acts committed to them at a younger age in the same instance. So you're not wrong there.
Yeah, it's terrible, man. Fucking terrible.
It's fucked up that it's ingrained into religious society as it has been.
Yeah.
It's
So much fucking death and terrible shit has been committed in the name of God. like the Crusades. You know, I'm not very well versed on fucking history at all, but I do understand that the Crusades was like the fucking killing of people in the name of Catholicism.
Every time that this world has gone through a major change, it's been through a major change of ideology. It's I believe in this. Oh, well, you believe in this? I don't like that. I'm gonna get rid of you. It's how it's been this entire time. It's basically the exact same thing for World War II. Hey, I believe that I own this property. No, you don't. I'm going to take it anyway.
Right.
It's every major change in this world has to do with the disagreement. That's
Is
just what it is.
this necessary evil, or what's not necessary evil, the subsidiary of these things? Is this like better than the whole world being nihilists? Like, could you imagine a world where everybody believed in nothing? Would that be a good thing?
A world where everybody believed in nothing in the aspect of an afterlife and or a beginning would give the world more time to actually progress and or advance on physical things in front of them. Whatever's in hand is going to get worked on instead of whatever's in mind.
Interesting.
At least that's what I believe.
Yeah.
If we were to go into some kind of a what's the word? Utopian type of ideology to where everybody believes in the same thing, we'd all have a specific focus and a specific task at hand that would get completed because there's no disagreements. There's no, oh, you're gay, you're not supposed to because God says you're not supposed to. There's nothing like that. It's just this guy, this girl, this person, this, they, that, people. These people are just working together.
Right.
I feel like that would be great, but granted, at the same time, there's no such thing as a utopia. No such thing, because there's nobody will ever have the same mindset as a large group of other people.
Yeah, it's pretty apparent in this day and age too.
Absolutely,
we're so divided.
Absolutely, between the reds and the blues of politics, between the do's and the don'ts of the whole abortion laws, between the rights and the wrongs of what's going on with like the racial side of our authoritarian fucking figures out there fucking absolutely destroying our black community, like one way or another.
Well, have you ever heard of the 48 Laws of Power? It's a book. I can't remember who wrote it. I haven't read the book, but one of the 48 Laws of Power is divide and conquer, right? And I can't help but think at times that the systems that keep things moving in our world, the people who pull the strings for those systems intentionally keep us divided through sharing information that's so polar, like so polarizing. So for instance, some people watch Fox News, some people watch CNN, right? And people who watch CNN believe that Fox News is all lies and bullshit.
Just evil, yeah.
People who watch Fox News believe that CNN is all lies and bullshit. Both claim to be telling the truth, and if you were to watch both of them, it's
dependent on the truth of what side.
Right. It's like two totally different existences that are happening side by side.
Yeah.
But you know, they say there's three sides to the truth: your side, my side, and the truth. You know what I mean? And it's like, I think it's intentional. It's easier to keep us down if we are at odds with each other. There's this meme going around right now with the scene from the movie Ants, where the grasshopper is telling the other grasshoppers, listen, these ants outnumber us 50-1. If they realized that if they just stood up against us, we would be done. So we don't control them because we're worried about food. We control them to make sure that we survive.
Yeah.
You know, and it's an interesting parallel. Like if we humans knew that if we came together, we wouldn't have to deal with tyranny.
To be honest, if you look at what happened, the insurrection that happened in fucking, what was it, January?
I think insurrection is a bit of a stretch. The circumstance that happened in January, which was horrendous, and it was a fucking a stain on our democracy. I agree with that.
Absolutely, but that's a prime example. If that group was a little bit bigger, how much further would they have gotten?
Right. So for me, that's a really hot button topic. If you go back and you watch a bunch of the videos of that, there were people at the head of that, like the berserkers, as they would say, that to me looked a lot like what somebody would call Antifa. All black, masks, militantly dressed, kind of. They're the ones who seem to. And then behind them, excuse me, were a bunch of fucking dummies who thought it would be a good idea to follow suit. Not only that, there's tons of record of, you know what an agent provocateur is? It's you do know what it is, but maybe not under that term. It's a government plant.
It's a sleeper cell.
Well, like a
in
government
sense.
plant that would, like, if you have a peaceful protest, CIA will put in, or the FBI will put in, an agent provocateurs that go in and start lighting things on fire to muddy the water of a good thing,
Yeah.
right? So there were people who are known FBI agents that were in the crowd there saying, we need to go in the Capitol. We need to go inside the Capitol. Now, that doesn't take away from the fact that some fucking morons listened and did it.
Also, keeping in mind that somebody in office had a lot of people in his pocket. And
Yeah.
that's also starting to come out
So-
real relevant. nowadays.
Unfortunately, Trump did not do a good
I
job
wasn't naming names.
of, I'll say it, 45, Mr. President
shoot
Donald
me.
Trump. I've actually put in 2 calls to his office and a full press request
I don't think it'll
to
ever
have
happen.
him seated right where you're
Unless that
seated.
man's making a decent buck off of it, he ain't coming out.
I don't know. He's our neighbor. He lives fucking what?
I
5 miles
I don't
from
think
here.
he lives there anymore. I'm pretty sure he was kicked out of Mar-a-Lago.
No.
I'm pretty sure he was kicked out of Mar-a-Lago.
No.
Something happened to his property. I'm not too sure, but I know
Nope.
something happened.
Nope. That's liberal propaganda that you're being subjected to. Was Trump kicked out of Mar-a-Lago?
I don't know if he was kicked out or if like something with his rent or with the lease. I'm not too sure what happened, but last I heard, he wasn't in Mar-a-Lago.
Oh, look at this. I just Googled, was Trump kicked out of Mar-a-Lago? This is breaking news, guys. This is breaking fucking news. 16 minutes ago, 3 hours ago, 4 minutes ago. Donald Trump's Mar-a-Lago home raided by the FBI.
Yep, there it goes. That's what it was. The government was holding it.
Wait a minute. FBI searches Donald Trump's Mar-a-Lago home. So, one, he still lives there. But this is breaking news. This is the first time I've done breaking news on this show, or we've done breaking news on this show. Let's see what it says here. I'm looking at The Guardian. Donald Trump.
Yeah,
FBI searches Donald Trump's
He's been in
Mar-a-Lago
court
home.
for the last week
Oh my
and a half.
God. Did
2
you hear
weeks.
about his baby mama?
Yeah. So strangely enough, while he's at court testifying for a whole bunch of stuff that he's done while he was in presidency or during his presidency, his wife miraculously passes away at the bottom of the set of stairs.
She fell down the stairs. And the same day she's found dead, it says it has been established she died of an accidental fall. How do you know
they don't
it was
do
an
that on the
accident?
same day? They
No.
don't declare that on the same day.
No way.
No.
And that's pretty fucking
My
scary,
my
dude.
fucking ma passed away from cancer, and it took them
so
2
sorry,
days
man.
to fucking come up to us, like, all right, this
And
is
let
how
us
she
know
passed
what
away.
happened.
2 days,
Right.
and we knew what happened.
Right.
There's no fucking way. There's no fucking way.
And if you were to think about it think about it like this. This is a American diplomat, that I use the term loosely, ex-president of the United States who's
Also use the term loosely.
whose wife or baby mama was potentially fucking killed.
But it was an accident.
That's fucking scary.
He was Jeffrey Epstein.
Let me see a little bit of what this thing says here. So this is just a
I'm
couple
pretty sure
hours
they're
ago.
searching for logs and such to connect him to Epstein, and then certain things that he was doing in the office during his presidency that were shady enough to be questioned. I
So-
think that's what they're looking for.
It says here, federal investigators have searched Donald Trump's Mar-a-Lago resort in Palm Beach, Florida. Shout out Palm Beach, including the contents of a safe. The former president said in a statement on Monday, the latest indication of an intensifying criminal investigation by the Justice Department into his affairs. Are we doing the same thing for Hillary spying on Trump? Sorry, I had a frog in my throat. The FBI executed a search warrant Monday morning at Trump's residence that came as a part of an investigation, the move by the Justice Department, the removal of 15 boxes of presidential records from the White House, including classified documents, as well as the destruction of other materials, marks a dramatic escalation in the inquiry.
You telling me this man took shit from the president from the president's office that he wasn't supposed to take?
No. What this is saying here is that they went into his house, to search Mar-a-Lago over the removal of 15 boxes. Yeah. So I think that is what this is saying, that he took 15 boxes of presidential records from the White House that included classified documents.
Tell me this man's trying to cover some shit up?
And it says that he destroyed other materials.
He's trying to cover some shit up?
Wow. Wow. Oh, look at this. I'm getting ads for bookshelves because I looked up bookshelf yesterday. My beautiful home, Mar-a-Lago in Palm Beach, Florida, is currently under siege, raided, and occupied by a large group of FBI agents, Trump said in a bitter statement on Monday evening, adding, they even broke into my safe. This is heavy, dude.
Don't do dumb shit and you won't win dumb prizes.
Holy shit. So, you know, the challenge is that the whole time during his presidency, they were talking about Russian collusion, right? And I don't know a lot about this. And maybe I get some of my information is coming from I try to listen to center information, right? But sometimes I like to listen to the fringe.
To the crazy shit.
But it seems that actually the collusion was happening on the other side, right? And I think what the point of it all is that, you know, both sides are corrupt. You know, all elections are rigged.
100% of the way.
You know, there's this new documentary out called 2000 Mules, and it shows all this. So they used cell phone triangulation to track people's cell phones, who ended up, there was like 20,000 people who were picking up ballots and dropping them off in these drop boxes at 3 a.m, and then having to take pictures of themselves as they're dropping them off because they were getting paid to stuff these ballot boxes. It's all on like video footage. It's very weird. Now, we don't know whose votes were in those, what the votes were for. We don't know if the votes were fake or what, but it's called 2000 Mules. It's definitely leans right. There's no doubt about it, but you should check it out.
I feel like our presidential election process should be changed. I feel like whoever wants to be president should be given a sword and then put into an arena. The last one standing wins.
Okay, this sounds like a brilliant idea. Although,
I mean, one way or another, it's corrupt either way. So it's
although sword
of the two
fighting
evils.
might not be like high on the list of necessary things.
We can't give them like pistols. It's too quick, and we can't just have them like box it out.
What if we were to do something a little bit less gruesome and just give them like a cognitive test? What if, could you imagine the person who has to lead the free world? If we just make sure their brain is working properly, they're smart, you know, they can operate a vehicle in some states.
But then that would take the fun out of it.
Yeah.
Do you know how fun it would be to see Joe Biden try to lift up a greatsword, just like
It would be sad. It's sad watching him now,
Trump
man.
would have to pick up a butter knife with his tiny little hands.
I don't think he has tiny hands.
My hands are huge.
He's got the hugest hands that have ever been hands.
They're huge.
They've got
They're huge enough to grab the pussy.
He grabs them right by the pussy.
Right there. It's all in the move.
Sometimes it feels like we're watching like a fucking a weird spoof movie.
Let me just say, Trump's whole entire presidency felt to be like it was just one giant SNL skit.
Yeah, is this real? When I was watching him in the presidential debates before he got elected, you just couldn't believe this was real.
I was having a ball with all his tweets. Every day.
He is funny. He could do stand-up comedy.
I don't know about he could do stand-up comedy. He could be the subject of stand-up comedy.
I'm telling you, some of
the
the stuff he said was funny, and he's quick and witty. When he said something along the lines of like, or Hillary in one of the debates said, I can't remember what the line was, but he just immediately fired back with like, you'd be in prison, or something like that. He's just quick. He's witty. It also brings up a scary thing about censorship, that, you know, a sitting president was banned from Twitter. You know, I mean, I understand this all came back to the insurrection thing, right? Like he was like saying that
he was saying a bunch of really weird shit, and then the way he phrased certain sentences or certain tweets that he made him sound like he wasn't trying to stop the insurrection from happening.
And he could have been inciting it.
He was like, yeah.
We need to stand strong
Yeah.
and show force,
Yeah.
something like that.
Yeah.
Or stand by
That's what he's on. What he's on trial for.
and they're like, what would you tell the Proud Boys or something? And his choice of words was like, stand by and stand back and stand by instead of like stand down.
Stand down. Stop.
He
Fucking
could have
just stop it. That's all he could. All he had to say was stop.
Right. I
Did
think
he?
he could have done a way better job of bringing our country together in a very divided time.
Like, don't
But
get me wrong.
does anybody
Financially
do that?
speaking, Trump was fucking phenomenal. Gas was great. I
Yeah.
was making plenty of fucking money. Taxes weren't being scraped out of me. It was just fine.
Right.
But when it comes to being the face of America,
Yeah.
we were a joke for 4 years.
Yeah. But are we in any better position now?
Nope.
Yeah. Yeah, and potentially we could seem like a weaker, like on the global defense front, you know?
I mean, yeah. Old joke and forget. I mean, I don't know. Old joke and forget what the button was for. Hit it by accident, thinking that it's his fucking ice cream button.
Ice cream button. We
Then
watched that James Corden thing the other day.
All
That
of a
was
sudden, there's a
hilarious.
nuke flying towards fucking Russia. And, oh,
Yeah.
there goes that.
Well, I've said it a bunch, and it's a lot of people are saying it. If that was your grandfather, you wouldn't allow it. You wouldn't allow it. It wouldn't for his pride and dignity. Like, it's just not okay.
To be
you know?
honest, though, my grandfather, like, if it was my grandfather in that situation, my grandfather was an extremely proud man, and he wouldn't have taken anything that we said into consideration so long as it was a goal that he had in mind. So,
Well said, right? So this is somebody who's been in politics for 40 or 50
he's been
years.
trying. He's been trying to
He
work.
gets a chance to become the president of the United States.
Do you know how well his family is going to be? Well, I mean, except for that crackhead son of his, how well that family is going to be made off after he leaves office.
Right.
They're all taken care of for life.
For life.
But it's. You get to presidency, you don't have to worry about working.
Yeah. I'd imagine also, like, they're probably told, like, listen, we're going to have people there helping him and whatnot. Like,
do you know how weird it is that Obama is in Hawaii on vacation, fucking wakeboarding, riding a jet ski, and his fucking security detail is literally 100 feet from him?
Obama, people might not like me for this, but I think Obama might have been one of the best presidents in American history.
By far.
You know,
If they could extend him for another 4 years, I'd vote him.
you know, there's a potential we might be looking at another Obama ticket coming up, and it would be Michelle. Michelle
vote.
might run.
That would give us the first female president. I would
And,
vote.
you know, aside from all of the, like, deep, like, entrenched political connections that these families have, I think that she could be a great thing for our country, and I think she could bring people together. The problem is that people are so polarized on their beliefs.
All
that,
I know is that, like the desperate man searching the bottom of his washer, we need change. All right? And Obama brought that shit to us.
Yeah. Well, the other side of that is the stuff where, like, he, like, you know, dropped more drone bombs on innocent people than any president any time in human history. That's the other thing.
You
It's a
also
little
have
weird.
to understand this was the very first time that we were using this technology in a wartime scenario. There are mistakes that are going to happen. When we dropped bombs on Nagasaki and Hiroshima, we ran tests nonstop to ensure that shit would go right, and it still went wrong when it was dropping. It did not drop exactly where they needed it to drop, and it didn't drop at the time that they were hoping
Really?
that it would happen as well.
I didn't know that.
There were things that went wrong with everything, especially with new technology on a war
Right,
front.
right.
Obama was the first president to be given access to all these drones. What do? Fucking use them.
Yeah, and I know that we were trying to get, you know,
And then
Al-Qaeda under
at the same
control and
time, these
stuff.
drones were not controlled by Obama. There are plenty of
Generals, military
Navy
generals.
or Air Force that controls all. There's 22-year-olds sitting in a little control playing video games, literally.
Like some
and
war
it's the
game
drone
shit.
going towards.
Or the
wherever
movie
the fuck it's
Toys.
going.
Did you ever see the movie Toys with Robin Williams? And
Yes.
his family, his dad dies, and they owned a toy making company, and somebody comes in and they start making military toys.
Yeah. That,
And they get all
my mom made
these
me
kids
watch
to
that.
come in, and they sit at these screens, and they're flying little remote control airplanes that are weaponized.
Little
That's another
drones.
one.
Yeah, that's another one.
You
But
know?
Obama, he was given technology for the first time to use it. He was like, okay, absolutely, let's fucking use it. Let's take care of the problem that we have at hand. Unknowingly speaking about fucking plenty of unprofessional or like non properly trained soldiers or units that are sitting there
Who
controlling
are what,
these.
20 years old?
22, 23. You know, they try to get the young bucks. They try to get the young bucks to go into the Air Force and take care of all the technology.
Yeah.
That's what they do. And of course, there's going to be error. There's going to be human error all the time. Yeah, sure. A bunch of bombs were dropped by a bunch of drones, and some of them ended up getting blown away and taken somewhere they weren't supposed to drop. War is an ugly fucking thing.
Yeah.
One way or another.
But speaking about necessary evils.
Would you rather it be them droning us or us droning them?
Yeah. I think it's an interesting point,
Sure,
you know.
he dropped a fuck ton of bombs, and he might have caused a lot of innocent casualties. But at the same time, who pulled out the troops?
Biden, right? And that was like a total fuck up. We didn't need to be in a 20-year long war, right? And we probably needed to get out of Afghanistan, but the way we did it, my understanding, it wasn't good.
No, it was way too slow, way too gradual.
Right.
If we would have just pulled out and let them do what they had to do, sure, they would have fallen apart, but it's not our problem.
I think also it was like we left all of our equipment there, and now they have all of our equipment. What up, homies? Got the young homies downstairs. I'm going to see if they'll bring us teas up. Hold on one sec, Nick.
The young bucks. I want to replace that T with an F. The young fucks.
What do you want? I'm going to take a white, and you can take a drink, please.
I'm gonna take this moment to say that Hakuna Kava has easily become one of the most chillest kava bars in this area, and this is a personal opinion, but I just have to state that out there. You should definitely come on out here and check us out. We have Flow Fridays and all kinds of wonderful events happening on a weekly basis. Wonderful Blake and Danielle down there have been geniuses in the part of creating a space that people can come out to be free. It is a very, very wonderful time and a wonderful experience, and I highly, highly, highly suggest that you should come out here and come visit us. Say hi. Let's hang out.
That really means a lot to me, man. Thank you so much.
Don't blow up.
Little shameless plug. He's like, don't think you're that cool.
It's not shameless. It's
that means a lot.
proper.
You know, our mutual friend Rodrigo's like family now. He sent me a voice clip the other day after we did karaoke night. And he said something along the lines of like, what you and your wife have created is a space for all walks of life to enjoy each other's company. We had everybody from race, religion, creed, music preferences. We were all in here singing, laughing, and it didn't occur to me until Rod pointed it out to me. But I think the other important part of that is like, yeah, we built the space, and we did the Field of Dreams method. If you build it, they will come. This place is created by the people who inhabit its walls, you know? Like, yeah, we try to promote a culture of all loving and welcome and encouraging, right? But it's created by you guys, you know? So I appreciate the compliment, but, you know, the appreciation also goes back to, you know, you guys, you know, because Danielle and I'd be sitting here twiddling our thumbs if all of these amazing people hadn't shown up. And for that, we're forever grateful.
We wouldn't have been able to show up if you didn't create a bubble that we can call our space.
Yeah, that's fair. So this, you know, it's a mutually beneficial relationship, right?
That's what it is. Yeah.
Well, we appreciate that very much, man. And we're hoping to, at some point in the near future, you know, grow the culture and see if there's some other spaces that we can kind of expand our footprint a bit. We'll see. We're going to keep grinding.
It'll happen.
We just moved in not far from here, which has also been a total game changer, bro. Like, I'm finally, you know, I'm willing to admit it, finally on time for work. So it's interesting, though, because we used to drive in from Palm Beach Gardens to West Palm Beach to operate our business, right? And that's just what it was from the beginning. The first time I drove from the new spot to here, which is in the neighborhood here.
Why did you drive?
Honestly, I had the U-Haul truck, but I've already walked here and skateboarded here. But I was running late, so I had to drive. Shocker.
How do you run late when you are a minute away?
So sad. It's so
it's okay.
sad.
I'm 5 minutes from the shop and I'm late all the time too. It's cool.
But there's a different feeling that I got that now we're operating a business in our own neighborhood. It's something was real, like, felt very special about that, you know? And if I could make a suggestion to anybody who's like has a thought of being an entrepreneur, like, it is so very rewarding to create some sort of community event, a community space, as a business in your neighborhood. Do what you can to make it happen. It's so fucking rewarding, dude.
The simple fact that you attract all walks of life, it's like a networking opportunity one way or another.
Yeah.
And whether it being for business, for pleasure, for just friendship, it's just always a network of different people to vibe with.
It's so true, dude.
It's a great vibe. That's which way do I
Thank
look?
you. Oh, you're up here.
It's a great vibe. Come
Thanks,
on out
buddy.
here, hang out. We got things going on all the time.
Yeah. So we're gonna be putting together game night soon too, right?
Oh yeah.
That's gonna be on second Thursdays.
Second Thursdays, it's gonna be Smash. I got Mortal Kombat. We're gonna get the Mario Kart out there. We
Sick.
can do Mario Party if everybody's up for
We've
it.
got a bunch of TVs in here, so what we might try to do is either LAN a couple together or have different stations where different games are being played. We're going to be posting that on our social media, so keep an eye out for that.
Yep, stay tuned. I got a flyer coming out soon. My wonderful wife Tessa is gonna be working on that.
Tarts.
Tarts.
Is it at
that's
Tarts?
right, Tessa.
Shout out Tessa.
At Tarts.
So talented.
Tarts
I'm going to
Toy
show off some
Company.
of her stuff. Woo. Do you know which one is which? Do you know which one is which, Sebastian? Oh, you're the man. Shout out Sebastian. Look, say hi, buddy. This is Sebastian. Sebastian is a young homie that's a great kid, and we appreciate you very much. I'll have to get you in this seat sometime soon. So Lauren's doing some studying right now, so we're going to let her finish her studying.
The switch is down there if you
Oh.
want to play.
Yeah, absolutely, brother. Absolutely.
It's in my bag. The bag is right down
For those of
there.
you who are listening and
Look for the
not
backwards
watching,
bag.
we're just having a little quick conversation with our homie Sebastian. Okay, so I'm going to show off some of Tessa's work. Cool? Please hold.
It's Tarts, Tessa's toy company. She makes all kinds of wonderful little knickknacks and figurines and sculptures. She makes tote bags, designs of all shapes, sizes, and styles. She's got some wonderful work. At Tarts on Instagram, I would definitely check it out. Please follow and share. Support local.
We're going to share her Instagram in the description of the video below. Also, so Tessa is so incredibly talented at like creating unique trinkets and tangible items. We have a few of her pieces of art here. She makes custom kava shells for us and the whole tribe here. I saw on her table at one of the Flow Fridays a custom painted rubber ducky that just fucking blew me away. I think it was this gray one was the first one. So I'm going to hold this up to the camera. Hopefully you guys can see it.
Got a vintage little cartoon style ducky. She sees the world differently. That is for sure. She sees it in an artistic view that none other can. And when she sees something that she knows she can do, she will do it. And when she does it, she blows it out of the park every time. Look at that lucky little duck.
This is my new favorite one.
Wait for the next one. It's a little alien. All the Jeep collectors out there, the Jeep drivers, I know you have ducks. Check it out. Tessa's got you.
So this is I now have 4 of these custom painted rubber duckies. They are one of a kind, and Danielle's allowed me to have a little shelf over here for my like podcast gifts and things that I like, and for
You're allowed the little shelf space as well.
I say that I shouldn't say it that way.
No. That's the absolute correct way to say it. I was allowed a corner.
This place is like Danielle's brainchild, and I did everything in my power to bring it to life for her. What you feel inside here is like this is Danielle, and I'm glad to be involved. But so I asked her, babe, the shelf up there by me, can I put some of the things I like? So I now have the collection of Tessa's rubber duckies. I've got a Lamborghini little toy car up there. I've got a Corvette. I've got the boob mug that if you guys remember watching the podcast that I did with Wes Goodrich, dear friend of mine, his wife makes these boob mugs. Let me show that.
Put milk in those mugs, and it's you get milk jugs. Get it? Milk mug, milk jugs, boobs. I'm a 30-year-old child. Please excuse me.
Yeah. So anyway, shout out to Tessa. Shout out to Wes's wife for making all these goods. And yeah, check out Tessa. She's super talented. And I want another rubber ducky.
Yeah, we've got one in the works. But now she's currently creating all kinds of stuffed creatures, little animal, plush animals. She's got sculptures, clay sculptures, cute little monster creatures that she's made a series of.
I've seen the newest series. Those things are fucking cool. What does she call them?
Um,
I'm gonna go over to her Instagram page real quick.
I don't think she has a set name for the series. She has
No, but
names for
there's
each one of them.
Yeah, I think she was calling them. Now, I wasn't sure if that was something that she created or if she made version of a creature that already exists.
Well, to be honest, it was something that Tessa just kind of was messing around with one day. She created it, and it was like, ah, it's cute. And I looked at it, it's like a little eyeball, a little tentacle. And she's like, yeah, no. And then she painted it, and it turned into the creation that.
What's her Instagram?
Tarts.
Is it?
That's Tarts Toy Factory.
At Tarts. I'm having trouble here. Accounts. Tessa Arts.
So it's
Tessa's Tarts, homemade soy wax melts. No, that might be another one of hers.
that's another one of hers, yeah. Tarts Toy Factory on Instagram.
It's at
at
TARTS.
TARTSTOY
Toy Factory.
Yep,
Got it.
there we go.
At Tarts Toy Factory.
She's
So
got
this
all
little
kinds of
thing,
stuff.
Spawn of Oodle.
Oodle, there we go. The oodles.
They're oodles, right?
Oodles and oodles.
I'm gonna see if the camera will pick up these cute little guys.
Oodles. Cute little creatures, cute little monsters, evil eyes.
So what are those?
incorporated.
About like 3 to 5 inches tall?
Yeah, roughly. Some of them are like 2 inches. I think the tallest one goes up to about 6 inches.
Dude.
She's got a good selection of them this time
She's
around.
so talented. Sweet girl. Your family is just like so fucking cute.
Thank you.
With you and your little one as well, man.
Oh, little Lydia. Yeah.
Lydia, right?
Yeah.
So beautiful, man. She looks like her mother, thank God.
No, right? I know. I look at myself in the mirror and I go, fuck,
I'm just
she
kidding.
dodged a bullet.
I'm
Jeez,
just kidding, man.
Nah, you're not kidding. You're not lying.
Well,
Don't-
you know, shout out to Tessa. Please check out at Tarts Toy Factory. She's killing it. But
Love you,
she
babe.
won't make you any rubber duckies. Those are specifically for live
Ye-
from Hakuna.
SOL. It's only for Blake and Danielle. Boo.
I'm just kidding. Everything's got a price, right?
Yeah, I mean, you're not wrong. You're not wrong. You put some money in her face and she'll be like, you know what? I
Yeah.
can make you something real quick.
So, speaking of my favorite little rubber ducky, the alien. As you can see in my little fucking artwork up here, I've got UFOs, aliens.
A little
I have
bit of everything up there.
an affinity for the thought of
Extraterrestrial life.
extraterrestrial life, and all of these recent sightings of military documented, or more. I mean, it's happened since the 60s, 50s, or 60s, but it's happening so frequently now. Do you have an opinion on whether or not extraterrestrial life is okay? Let me start with this. Do you think that UFOs are real?
I have two thoughts. Like, one that I would like to believe, and I have a thought that I do believe. What I would like to believe is that we were an experiment. There are aliens out there that they've been watching us this whole time. And yeah, sure, we've caught glimpses of them every now and then, but they were just merely observatory little plebs, per se. They weren't important aliens. They were just watching over us, and we just so happened to catch them. I feel like we, as a species, were planted here as bacteria at a very, 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 very long time ago, and then we went through the processes of dinosaurs and lizards and monkeys and cavemen, and we're just a big game for this far more intelligent species that's just been out there for way longer than we expected, way longer than we believe. I'd like to believe that. That would just mean that there's, additional civilization outside of our own solar system. And yeah, we may be able to get ourselves smart enough to be able to cooperate with them, and maybe we won't. Exciting. What I truly believe is there's something out there that's been trying to reach out to us. And if it has reached out to us, it's been with us for quite some time. There's definitely something there, though. Definitely something there. The simple fact that water was found on Mars, frozen or not, it's water sustains life, no matter what. It could be in the fucking desert, and there's still going to be something that survives off of that water.
Right. Like,
So-
potentially, what if we used to live on Mars and we killed that planet and we came to Earth and now we're trying to get back to Mars?
I mean, there excuse me.
It's okay.
They're also saying that the what was it? One of Jupiter's moons, I believe it was called Europa. Was it Europa? Don't quote me on the name of what that moon was called, but it's the closest atmosphere to Earth. The only problem is that it's that the levels of carbon dioxide in the air are slightly too high for human consumption, but it is enough for us to be able to ventilate and live on. How?
Europa is one of the moons of Jupiter.
I believe that's
There's Europa, Ganymede, Io, Callisto, Drastia,
you know,
Irene.
Europa would be the one closest to Earth
Okay.
in atmosphere. We'd be able to live there. The water is water, but the air itself is a little too toxic or poisonous for us to be able to inhale. I believe I would also like to believe that we might have come from there and did something to that.
Right.
And then had to evacuate from there and weren't able to make the entire trip.
Right.
So some kind of rudimentary part of us came down to Earth, and that's where we restarted.
What if our job, what if our purpose is we're planet killers?
I mean, we're doing a real good job.
That's right. We're like a
Grade fucking A.
we're like a bacteria that is killing the living organism of the planet.
Now, what about the theory that there are another subspecies of human being living in a subterranean crawl space, or well, I don't want to say crawl space, subterranean world per se, to where they believe the Hollow Earth theory, to where it's a completely different ecosystem inside the actual crust of Earth itself, and that's where another species or subspecies of life has been in.
So there's like these videos of people like in not North Carolina or whatever, and there's this sound, this crazy grinding, howling sound that sounds like it's coming from the earth. Nobody can explain what it is, and even earthquakes, or there's like rumbling of the ground and shit. Like, it could be potentially that there's activity going on down there that is making all this shit happen. Is kind of, you're saying that's a possibility too.
I mean, everything's a possibility. If you think about it really deeply, there's cave systems on Earth that extend down underground for miles upon miles before ever reaching anything that may resemble something close to the core itself.
Right.
Who's to say that maybe there's not a cave
A species could live down there undetected for millions of years.
There's places where ecosystems literally recreate themselves underground with no sun whatsoever, just striving off of very, very, very little luminescent light. There's I think it was in Taiwan or some Asian country. They discovered a cave, and when they got inside the cave, they also discovered again that there was a shaft that went down for 2.5 miles into the ground, straight down. And once they reached the bottom, they found a natural river running through. And they followed said river until they came across a giant cavern that had
Trees,
and grass, and
What?
hills. It was a
What?
giant underground cavern, and there was very little sunlight coming from the tops. Giant underground ecosystem would be a better way to.
Yeah. Son Doong Cave
There
in
we go.
Vietnam.
That in Viet fucking Nam.
This amazing cave also houses an impressive ecosystem. The Song Doong Cave in Vietnam is the largest cave passage in the world. This huge and intricate cave system was created by water that percolated down from a rainforest above, ultimately carving into the rock. It's called Son Doong, Doong cave.
Just saying.
Holy
Who's
fuck.
to say that water didn't run down a lot faster and there's not a large source of it somewhere down there?
So I have a theory about aliens on Earth. I have a theory that aliens aren't visiting Earth, that they actually live here and they live in the oceans and they've been here for millions of years. And we are an alien experiment that they put their DNA into lower hominids, and we eventually became the humans as we know now.
If there's anything that I would believe more, it's that there's something in the ocean that we've never been able to truly get to, see, and or understand.
You know, I think NASA started off as a something to study under the ocean, and they did it for about 5 years, and then completely changed directions and said, we're going to go into space.
Under the guise of, oh, we can't go any further down there.
What if they came across something down there that they're like, fuck, no, we are not fucking with
If
this.
they're able to create satellites and send them light years and light years and light years away to a planet that's pressure is far more exceeding than the waters of our own planet,
And those satellites still communicate with us.
and they still communicate with us, they're able to go down there.
I can't get cell service at my fucking house.
They're able to go down there. They just don't want to.
Yeah, I think that, you know that movie, The Abyss?
Ugh.
That's about like aliens in the ocean. And I
Yeah.
think that there might be some plausibility to that.
That movie Underwater with Kristen Wiig, I think it was.
I don't know if I've seen that one.
Kristen Wiig or Kristen Stewart, one of those two. That was a phenomenal flick, and it had to do with basically extraterrestrial life residing in the deepest sections of our ocean in a comatose state, and us discovering it via some electronic signal that we picked up on monitors. And the scientists getting a little too fucking curious and creating a station underwater so that they can figure this signal out, and then waking the fucking thing up.
What was the story you just heard about Russia in Antarctica?
Yeah,
Is
so apparently way back in the day when Russia and America were going to Antarctica to do research on the ice caps over there to see just what kind of prehistoric life may be frozen in the miles upon miles of ice sheets that are in Antarctica. Well, when they went down there and they were doing imagery or sonar imagery, they discovered that many miles down beneath the ice was a large pocket of water that's been there for, at that point, millions and millions and millions of years since the dinosaurs. So they were curious and decided to start digging down there.
this is the beginning of a fucking horror movie.
At that point in time, tensions between America and Russia supposedly started getting real thin, and it was just the Russian team that ended up staying in Antarctica, and the American team no longer participated in this experiment or this project. So the Russian team continued going down, and it took them quite some time, but when they finally broke through to the waters down there and they sent a camera, they saw prehistoric fauna and prehistoric organisms and so on and so forth, frozen and some still alive. So they decided to send the team down there. For what fucking reason they would do this, who knows? But that team stopped reporting back. They started when they stopped reporting back, and when the two scientists finally came back to report to Russia about whatever the fuck happened down there, they stated that when they went down there, their team started to see prehistoric fauna and started collecting samples of the sediment and all kinds of stuff in there, and then all of their electronics shut off. Something in the water wished by and attacked, quote unquote, one of the divers and left them in pieces. Then, when they tried to get away from there, more of the divers were attacked, and the only survivors of the team were one of the divers and one of the people that were at the very top. When they got back to Russia and reported to their superiors, there was a Russian team that was sent back out there to close that hole. Why they would go out of their way to close the hole, who fucking knows?
Because they don't want that shit coming out. So what you're saying, there's some sort of prehistoric fucking beast creature living in a deep underground pocket of water.
From what those reports read, or what from how they were explained, the way that these scientists or the diver that came back out explained it was a creature that was able to camouflage itself, squid-like.
Right.
It was a creature that had multiple appendages, squid-like. It was a creature that was able to use some kind of a sonar or some kind of sonar to figure out where they were. Creatures big enough that have that type of or that capability have the capability to start interfering with actual electromagnetic signals. So, the motherfuckers woke up Cthulhu.
What is that?
Cthulhu.
Yeah, you were telling me about Cthulhu.
That's just my hopes and dreams.
What is Cthulhu?
Cthulhu is this eldritch being that Lovecraft created so many years ago as an idea of horror ideology.
Yeah.
That's since then become this like belief that extraterrestrials came to Earth, and one of them, well, there's extraterrestrials in the world, and that they're battling constantly, but they're all one big family. And Cthulhu came down here to slumber and stay away from the fights and such. But when he sleeps, he's got these mimetic powers that slowly seep out to the population around him and get people to try to like make cults to wake him back up and get him to control the world. Yada 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 yada. It's more story than anything else. But
that potentially could be what they found.
I mean,
there.
if it's true, then we're fucked. But to be 100% honest, deep sea gigantism is 100% a thing. And
oh yeah,
if you think about something living in the dark for millions upon millions of years, with its only food source being whatever is down there, which is, a lot. But
well, think about evolution as we know it as humans, right? How we've evolved over thousands of years or millions of years. If you are unchecked, untouched for hundreds of millions of years,
unchecked, untouched, and forced into the worst possible situation, the darkest, crampest, most dangerous situation, to where your life is constantly in danger unless you put yourself out there to create the danger for others.
Yeah.
You become a fucking monster.
A monster.
Yeah.
It's a fucking real monster down there. Well, even if you look at an octopus, right? Octopus to me is like proof of an alien living on this planet. Those fucking things are so wild. They change color. They change texture. They fucking can open a jar.
They can fit into a hole so goddamn small, but it doesn't matter so long as their brain can fit through it. Their entire body can fit through it.
Yeah, I think an octopus is an alien.
Living fucking putty is what that shit is.
I also think Elon Musk might be an alien.
I think Elon Musk is two little midget guys. Have you ever seen like two kids in a trench coat try to go watch an R-rated movie?
Yeah.
I think it's that case, but two little munchkins from Willy Wonka's factory that escaped.
What?
I don't know. Have you seen the way his body's shaped? The guy's like rectangular. I think he made his cars the same way his body is shaped for a reason. He's trying to make it popular. So the ladies.
He was on Rogan, and Rogan asked him about aliens and UFOs, and he adamantly said they don't exist. It was like,
Yeah, they don't exist.
there's nothing to see here. Like that type of thing.
Did he think he was a Jedi?
No, it was more like if you asked an alien if aliens existed,
They would tell you that they didn't.
they would be like, nope, absolutely not.
Nope, no, we're not here. I mean, they're not
Nothing
here.
to see here.
Hey, no, absolutely not. No, there's no aliens. What are you talking about? Aliens?
Yeah.
Like illegal aliens? No, come on, man, get out of here.
You know who also looks like an alien? Fucking Zuckerberg.
Zuckerberg's not an alien. He's a lizard person.
Lizard person.
Yeah, he's one of those subterranean subspecies that lives under the ground. Or at least that's what a lot of people believe. Which,
Yeah.
I mean, I wouldn't doubt. There's a couple other people that I'm pretty questioning too. Megan Fox is one of them.
So let's take another left-hand turn. When you speak about Megan Fox, the first thing that comes to me is like satanic rituals and shit. What is this fucking infatuation with Satanism in Hollywood?
Oh, man. So, what's the easiest way to describe this? There are a lot of people in this world that use an aesthetic to try to portray themselves as a certain person. A lot of people in this world. There are the people that genuinely like the aesthetic, genuinely understand the lore, the ideology, and delve themselves into that life, not because they want to look cool, but because that's just what's
It's like
associated
at the
with
core
what they're
of their
going
beliefs.
through. Yeah.
Yeah.
And then there are those people that just draw something on their arm, grab a shirt off of the rack from a really popular store, and then start spewing all kinds of nonsense about shit that they saw on TV.
So you think she's a poser?
I don't think she's a poser. I think that she's in the mix with some weird shit.
Yeah.
She's in the mix with a poser. Is
One
what I
of
think
your
it is.
one of your favorite musicians, Machine
Don't
Gun
you
Kelly,
fucking- I swear
just
to fuck.
married her.
Yeah.
And they drank each other's blood.
When he says favorite musician, I would just want you to
Nick
know
has Machine Gun Kelly posters on his wall. Don't let him lie to you. I've seen them.
they're there solely so that I can shoot them.
Throw darts at them.
100%.
So here's another thing about Satanism in Hollywood. I've been following Machine Gun Kelly since 2010. He was on World Star
he's a
Hip Hop.
Satanist.
No, but what happened was he moved to LA and he got into Hollywood, and then I watched all of his content and his aesthetic change to Satanism. Poser? Fucking A. It is a little frustrating, but then again, once he changed to these like satanic, imagery, like he's the biggest artist on the planet right now.
Unfortunate, but true.
Do you think you have to sign your soul to the devil to become famous?
Unfortunately,
Sell your soul?
there's no such thing
As selling your soul to the devil?
as a devil. The only devil that is in true existence is the very person that becomes a devil himself. But there's no actual.
There's not a.
There's no demon with horns and a fucking arrow tail, bat wings. No, it's not. It's not like that.
No?
It's not like that at all. Satanism is more an ideology than a.
It's kind of a
True
troll,
belief.
right?
I wouldn't. Well, if you want to look at, if the Christians want to look at it that way, then yes, 100%. But it's our freedom, it's our religion that we can base ourselves and our morality off of without having to base it off of somebody else.
You say our. Would you consider yourself a Satanist?
Yes, absolutely.
Really?
Absolutely.
Okay. All right. So we can dive in here more. So I watched a documentary on Netflix, which was very good and very funny and very eye-opening. And it was, what was it called? Hail Satan, ? Right? That's what it's called. Hail Satan, ?
Yeah.
And it's these Satanists who are working to get sculptures of the Baphomet in front of government buildings. And their stance is, if this country has a freedom of religion and you can put a tablet of the 10 Commandments in front of the Capitol building, then we should also be able to put a sculpture of the Baphomet in front of the Capitol building. Am I like kind of on the nose there?
So if there's a separation of church and state, but the church is still very, very deeply involved with the state, there's no separation, right?
Yeah. So the other side of that, though, is that this country was founded
On Christianity. On Christian morals.
right? It was. That you can't deny that
100%.
fact,
Yeah,
right?
100%.
But part of the original founding was, or at some point, was the separation of church and state, keeping the teaching of religion out of our schools.
The thing is how far has Christianity come? How dark and bloody has that history? How dark and bloody did that history have to get in
Right.
order to get to where it is now?
Right. This is like, well, exactly what we were talking about before, with like the Crusades and shit like that. Yeah, it's true, and we these, Christian fundamentalists, will tell you that you're burning the fiery pits of hell if you don't believe what they believed.
Satanism was founded off of an ideology, a soul ideology.
So this documentary here, Lucian Graves is the guy's name, co-founds the Satanic Temple,
Yep.
a religious movement that calls for a revolution to save the nation's soul, as well as dispelling the myths that labeled Satanists
You can
as
actually sign up for the
bloodthirsty devil
Satanic Temple at
worshippers.
tst.com. You can officiate yourself and learn the main 10. The main 10 is predominantly the main 10 rules that we follow or that we go by. It's predominantly just a moral guideline. It's not a rule set. It's not a religious text. It is a moral guideline. And it is a good guideline to follow, might I add. So please do visit tst.com, thesatanictemple.com.
So the main 10 are like the 10 commandments of Satanism, right? Ellie was on here and Ellie discussed it. I think we discussed it on Ellie's podcast. Main 10 of
It's literally just a moral guideline. Don't be a douche.
It is actually pretty compelling.
Be helpful.
Oh wait, is it the main 10 or is it I'm talking about the 7 fundamental tenets. Is that it?
Those are like the starters.
Okay.
It's expanded over time.
Okay.
There's a couple more, but it's all primarily just a moral guideline to be a good person.
Right.
It's like it's not, hey, do this or you're gonna burn in the pits of fucking hell and your
Right.
soul is forever.
Some of the
gonna be
most judgmental
tormented.
people I've
Or
met
Christian,
are Christian.
Catholic. Yeah.
You know,
It's fucking weird because they're supposed to be the nicest,
all
and,
loving and
well,
welcoming.
yeah.
And Jesus, his whole thing was
fucking
like,
weird.
we're all like each other's brother and whatnot.
I feel like if Jesus were to come back and look at all the Christians nowadays, he'd be very upset. If he were to actually come back and rise from the grave and he'd go to one of his churches or whatever the fuck, I think he'd be real mad seeing ministers and pastors with fucking Rolls Royces and multi-million-dollar complexes that
What's
have
that guy's name? What's his name? He's got the private jet. Joel
Ornstein, something like that. Yeah,
Joel Ornstein.
yeah. He's private jet. He's got the Rolls Royce. He's got the Rolexes. He's got the Armani suits.
I've seen a video of him of a journalist asking him questions about his money that he spends.
And he just smiles the whole time.
Well, no, actually, he got this evil look on him, where he said he did like this. And it was like, oh my God,
I saw
like,
one where
that's
he
a
just-
scary person.
I saw one where he just looked like a fucking Ken doll. The smile never changed. The expression stayed the exact same. And he was being asked all kinds of just real bad questions. Like the people that worked under him were being questioned for pedophilia and this and this and that. He's just like,
Okay, I'm actually confusing him with somebody else. Joel Osteen is actually a younger guy. The guy I was looking at was much older. Yeah, I don't understand. This again goes back to what we were talking about disguising, greed and power in religion, I lived in Charlotte, North Carolina for like 15 years, and there is this neighborhood area that I'm having trouble thinking of the name of right now, that is like this high-rise tower that's like falling apart and whatnot. It's this unfinished neighborhood. It was the Bakers, Tammy Faye Baker and her husband. They were the first televangelists, right? So they were on TV having people call in and donate money to God. And they built this compound in Fort Mill or right at the edge of Charlotte there, where it was going to be like a water park. You live there, you go to church there and whatnot. Well, they ended up spending all the money. Like they took money from people, they built the shell of a building, and then he spent it all on lavish trips and all this stuff. He ended up going to prison.
Yeah.
She kind of was able to rebrand herself a bit. But a friend of mine has a funny joke that he said, all right, so what we're going to do here is you guys give us the money, right? We'll throw all the money in the air. Whatever God can catch and grab, God will keep, and then we'll keep the rest. It's fucked up.
perfect.
It's true, man.
It's perfect.
But this is like a tale as old as time.
Every what's the word? Every church is 5 steps away from being a cult.
Right.
It's literal.
Right. Not only that, they don't have to pay taxes.
Yeah. That's one of the big things that Satanism's trying to hit too. So the church, the Satanic Temple is actually truly trying to get exempt from taxes so that we can even grounds with big religion, Judaism, Christianity, Catholicism. They all get tax breaks. They're non-taxed.
Right.
But the Satanic Temple is still,
What a hustle they
We're
got
still
going
getting
on.
fucking
You know what
smacked.
tithes are? Paying your tithes. I think it's TITHES. If you are part of a church, you are expected to pay 10% of your income to the church. 10% of the money that you make is supposed to go to the church.
Can I just say they can suck my expletive? Because no, they're not going to get 10% of my income.
Here we go, right here. What is the definition of tithe? It's spelled TITHE. 1/10 of annual produce or earnings, formerly taken as a tax for the support of the church. Holy shit.
Get out of town.
And if you see some of the size of some of these churches, so back to talking about Charlotte, there is the, what is that church that's there?
Pause. Am I going to have to worry about religious shit in Charlotte?
There's one of the biggest and fastest growing Christian churches in Charlotte. It is called, it's not Calvary, that one, that church. I got to show you a picture of this church. What is it called? Hold on, please hold.
I feel like I'm gonna have an issue out there.
Stephen Furtick Church. You've heard of Stephen Furtick? It's Elevation Church.
Oh, fuck.
Elevation. And
Yeah.
the guy's name is Stephen Furtick. He's from like a small town right outside of Charlotte, North Carolina. It was him and like 6 of his wealthy friends. They decided to start their own church, and this is one of the largest growing churches in the world. Weekly attendance is 27,000.
Jesus.
Elevation Church has 23 locations. So what they do is they have the one main one, which was right by where I lived in Charlotte. Funnily enough, right by where the Bakers had their fucking little compound that they built. And he would do it live from there and then satellite stream it to all of his other churches. So you would go to one in a different area and you watch it on screen. And now he's one of the biggest pastors in the world. It's Southern Baptist, right? It's unbelievable. Let's see how much this guy is worth.
Now, I'm not trying to shame anybody or like I'm not trying to start any issues or anything like that, but religion is the biggest pyramid scheme that humanity has ever created. Actually, I think religion is the first pyramid scheme that humanity has ever created.
Yeah. So I think part of it is important, right? Because it goes back to like
Comfort and having something to be able to keep yourself calm at the very end of the day.
yeah.
I 100% understand
Yeah.
that need.
Yeah, that helped me for a long time in my 20s. I worried about everything in the world that I couldn't control, right? And my mentality was like, I'm not going to say that like my Lord and Savior Jesus Christ, like all of this is because of what he's done for me. Like I've worked hard for this.
You did
But-
it yourself.
But the flip side of that is that everything bad that happens to me, it all falls on my shoulders too. But at some point in my late 20s, I had this kind of awakening. And it was actually, believe it or not, I went to Elevation Church. And first of all, it's like a rock concert. They have a full band. It's fucking amazing, right? And the guys in there are fucking tattooed. I walked in like this. I felt welcomed. But anyway, what I got out of it was like once you realize that there is potentially a higher power that has your best interest in mind, and you can, as they say, let go and let God, the weight of the world came off my shoulders, man. I don't subscribe to a specific religious sect, but I do find peace in knowing that there is some sort of master plan that involves my betterment, you know? Maybe it's clearly a, what's that called, placebo effect.
I don't like being the pawn of anyone's plan. I like to be the master of my own plan. I am
get
the
that.
master of my own plan.
I get that, but there's power in faith.
Have faith in yourself.
I do have, but it's in the times when you don't. And it's in the times when you don't. And you know what also has helped me look to the sky for guidance more is the passing of my brother. So now, like the conversations that some would say they're having with God, I have those conversations with my brother. You know?
Energy never dies. Energy can't be destroyed. Energy just moves about to a new place.
Which is interesting because I feel my brother with me now that he's passed than I ever did when he was
They
alive.
say the human soul is just a collection of energy. Who's
Right.
to say that the human soul, that the bloodlines don't connect said energy?
What do you think a soul is?
The soul is the. A soul is a conscience. A soul is the morality within one's heart. The soul is the concept of the person. It's not what brings life to the body. That's blood. That's
It's like your essence.
it's your essence. They say when the human body dies, when a human dies, they lose I think it was like 0.6 of an ounce or some shit like that for no fucking reason. They just lose 0.6 of an ounce. That's the energy leaving.
Holy shit.
That's the soul.
So when we talk about sentient AI, right? Like when it thinks that it's alive,
If it ever actually becomes alive, it would be a spark of energy within inside said machine, a spark of energy that was foreign to the mechanics itself.
but
That
if you turn the computer off,
Well, that's the thing. You wouldn't be able to just turn the computer off. That energy wouldn't be able to stop. That off button would be obsolete at that given point in time, seeing as the sentience is now running it instead of the actual software.
And it would be like a super soul, like a soul, like within, like I know this is like this is a little bit of mental masturbation here, but you kind of get what I'm getting at here. Like if you were to get this AI, like all of the information on the internet and this fucking supercomputer,
it would
to
also
think that it's real.
depend. It would also depend on how that AI came to be. If you started it with the information of the internet, or if you fed it sourced information to start from. So, I forgot what the movie was called, but there's a movie that basically showed the example of scientists creating a computer or a robot, putting more information into said robot till this robot gains intelligence to a point where it knows everything about that very specific topic, or everything that man has been putting towards that robot is exactly what that robot knows.
Right.
And that's all it knows.
Right.
It has not touched the internet, has not seen the outside world, but what it's sustained itself on is what it's being fed.
Right.
When that gets to a point of sentient, when it goes beyond the knowledge that's being fed to it and it starts to question what's beyond it, is when it gains its sentience. In comparison to putting that same robot in a scenario with the internet, it would learn so fucking much in such a little amount of time and go out of hand quite quickly.
Well, let me ask you this. How does that differ from a human being? Who am I? I am a collection of everything I've experienced, right? And if I never leave memories, right? If I never leave my hometown and all the information I don't get on the internet and all of the information I'm ever fed is from this small pocket, like that's do you see what I'm saying here? It's kind of hard to voice this. Like we're no different than a computer learning what's put in front of it.
Yeah, that computer would only go so far if it only knew so much.
Right, but if you get somebody who's like well-traveled, has met tons of different people,
they'll go way farther.
Experienced a lot of different things, like we are a collection of the input that's been put into our computer.
Because we are computers. We're just organic
meat computers.
Yeah. That's all we are. Our memories are just information that's input into electronic signals that are sent through our nervous system from our brain to our body to make it keep on moving or make it remember about whatever instance or scenario may have occurred. Muscle memory, fucking deja vu, all that shit.
Deja vu's weird.
Yeah, all that shit's just memory. It's literally just memory reflashing into your brain.
But memory is also a weird thing. Like some things we don't remember at all. Other things you can remember. Like sometimes I have a memory of something and then I realize like, oh, that didn't happen to me. That was a story I heard that somebody else did.
How far back can you remember into your childhood?
So that's the thing. It's like when you asked me that question, I have certain flashes. Like I remember like being in Disney World and seeing like the little tiny houses. I was in a stroller, I'm sure. That's an early memory. And then my earliest memories after that in my childhood home, I remember sneaking out on Christmas Eve into the living room and seeing what I thought was Santa Claus. And then if I scan through, I can remember like all sorts of specific stuff. But then I've heard where somebody's like, remember that one time when you, and I'm like, no, I don't fucking remember that at all.
So it's just, you got to trigger that memory. That's all it is.
But there's this weird thing that happens that every day we wake up, we just assume that we're the same person based on our memories.
Yeah,
so if you wipe if you have anesthesia, is that, no, not, what's that called?
Rohypnol.
Is it anesthesia? No,
Yeah,
that's when you go
anesthesia.
under. That's when, no, not anesthesia.
Rohypnol?
No.
Where you just knock yourself the fuck out?
When you forget everything.
Oh, amnesia.
Amnesia.
I thought you were talking about a drug.
No. When you have amnesia and you forget all of the things that you ever knew, you're not the same. You're not the same person anymore. Your memories aren't.
Alzheimer's is the same way.
Right.
It wipes away certain parts of your memory.
I think memories are a fucking weird thing. Not only that, are you a dreamer? Do you have vivid, memorable dreams?
Honestly, I can't say that I do.
Really?
I've had a lot of traumatic stuff in my past that's left me with diagnosed post PTSD, and it comes in the form of like, you know, night terrors.
Really?
It's gotten to a point where it's blanked out, where I just don't see anything anymore. But every now and then it'll spark back. But that's been for the last 5 years, give or take. I can't remember any of the dreams from before then.
Oh shit, man. You know, they say that kratom is really fucking triggers dreaming and whatnot. I know that for me,
I've been drinking it for years. It hasn't really done
no,
anything, man.
dude, my dreams are like I go and live in a different existence
I
every
would
night.
love to.
I go on these adventures that are so vivid and that I feel like it's real. It's so fucking wild, you know? But, you know, they say when you dream, your body releases DMT into itself. Also, when you die. Did you know that? DMT is like, they call it the spirit
DMT
molecule.
one hell of a drug.
But wait, have you done DMT?
No,
Yeah, I'm a little scared of it.
I won't. But I've seen somebody trip balls off of that shit.
Yeah?
That's why I say that shit's one hell of a drug.
No. But the thing is we've all done DMT.
I mean, technically,
do it every
yes,
night.
but I haven't done it like
No, like,
physically.
right. I'm a little scared of it.
Yeah, I'm terrified.
I think I need to be in more of a, like, I'm a little mentally unstable. Fucking slightly.
Let me have another 10, 15 years
Right,
to like gather myself a bit before I drive myself even more insane.
right. But I have had experiences on marijuana that have, you know, they say with DMT and when ayahuasca and some psychedelics, you can have something called an ego death,
Oh,
right?
that's when you completely change.
That's when you realize that all of the stupid ways you've been acting to massage your ego
That's
don't
when
serve you any good.
completely change. You tear down. You tear yourself down from the top to the bottom, and then rebuild yourself.
Yeah.
Completely different person.
I had that happen from doing a dab
I had that with acid.
several years ago. Oh, you've done acid.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, okay. I've never done acid.
Very, 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 very fun experience. Granted, I would suggest doing it in a controlled area.
Right, set and setting, right?
They actually have what's it called? I don't want to say lounge because it's not the proper word, but it's a spot where they literally dose you, put you in a nice little comfortable situation, put you in a room, get you with like some really nice like TV of your choice or whatever, and then they keep watching you just to make sure that you're okay.
Yeah.
And it's basically a controlled trip, and you always have a really nice trip. That sounds fucking phenomenal.
Right.
What I don't suggest is taking an unregistered or unedited amount of whatever substance just because your friend pulls it out of his pocket.
Right.
It's
Dangerous.
woo. You ever trip for 12 hours straight?
No, I've had the first time I ate mushrooms, I had a really bad experience. Shout out to my friend Brad Eiler in high school who kind of looked after me, but I fucking ate the mushrooms. I did the cardinal sin of looking at myself in the mirror. Before I did that, I looked over at him and he laughed and his face like morphed into this like horse face, and it like freaked me out. And then I went into the bathroom to like clear my head, and
That's
then
a
it was
lot of mushrooms.
it was all bad. Yeah, I probably ate like several grams.
That's a lot of mushrooms.
Now I like to eat half a gram, 0.5, and I get this fucking really nice like open, light, airy fucking. It's fantastic.
I feel like you should just go for a full gram. It's a little bit more intense than a micro dose, but it's nowhere near a trip. It's a good experience. And
Yeah, I've done a half gram like maybe a handful of times over the last 6-8 months.
Do a gram and just like, walk around for a bit, walk the dogs, just chill.
Do you like to eat it during the daytime or nighttime?
Daytime.
Yeah,
You get to actually like see the colors and
right.
all the actual hallucinogenic effects full effect when there's more light, more bright colors out and about.
Danielle and I ate some penis envy mushrooms when we were in Key West one time, and dude, we were fucking gone. But we had a fantastic experience. We sat in these Adirondack chairs at basically what felt like the edge of the earth in Key West.
Question.
Yo.
What's Adirondack?
Adirondack chairs. Adirondack is a place in upstate New York, I believe. Adirondack chairs are those big wooden chairs that are slightly leaned back. They're like planks of wood.
Oh, okay, I got you. I got you.
With the big armrest or whatever. That's an Adirondack chair. So we sat in these chairs and we looked at the stars, and the stars were connected in this web. Like you could see lines between each star, and they were like breathing.
So you had a shared trip?
Yeah, and I said, babe, are the stars breathing? Are they connected? She's like, yes. We like, it was what I explained is like a celestial experience that we had.
Yeah, it's a shared trip. You or she influenced you into believing what one was seeing, and then they actually began to see it because their mind like created it.
Yeah.
So it's a shared trip.
Yeah. Well, they
wonderful,
say that about,
wonderful experience.
It was amazing. It was amazing. And they say that DMT, that a lot of people have, like, see the same shit when they go in there, like these fucking spirit elves and shit. Like, I've heard that, or they see mother. There's, when you do ayahuasca, you see what they call mother.
Yeah, I've heard a lot of lore and stories about Native Americans doing ayahuasca and then seeing visions of similar and resemblant things, and all their stories seem to be of the same, which makes me think, is there certain chemical substances that open up certain, let's say, quote unquote, dimensional portals in people's minds that allows us to see the world for what it truly is? I've read a lot of those stories, and it makes me really wonder if it's truly a thing that would explain misfortune and bad omen and bad vibes, and just, I got a bad feeling about this. That's because something bad is there giving you that feeling.
Bad vibes, intuition, and stuff like that. That's a weird thing, man. That's, to me, that's like
Native
third eye
Americans
shit.
had some like serious shit. If you like really read into it,
Yeah.
what they like, how they believe things work throughout the world. It's sure some of it may be a little far fetched, but when they fucking tripped, they really opened
They would
up
do
their
peyote,
minds.
right?
Peyote, ayahuasca.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was crazy. But they'd see similar visions, like, oh yeah, mother Earth, Mother Nature. Okay, so what does she look like? And they start explaining she's a beautiful native woman, tan skin like the sand, hair that flows in the wind like the trees of the mountains, like crazy shit, and it's fucking beautiful.
So I'm looking up ayahuasca here on Google, and you know how it says, shows things other people have asked? One of them is, can ayahuasca change your life? The initial results from the Global Ayahuasca Project survey are staggering. About 85% of the people who take ayahuasca go on to make a profound life change. After drinking ayahuasca, people are breaking up, hooking up, ditching miserable jobs, kickstarting new careers, enrolling in uni, and having babies. It seems like there's that.
Uni?
I don't know what uni is. Is that like a? What is uni?
Don't tell me it's a cult.
Sea urchins.
What the fuck?
That was a weird. That was fuck what I just read. That was dumb. That was dumb.
I participate in uni.
Yeah, I eat sea urchin now that I did ayahuasca.
Oh, you eat sea urchin?
That's what they're saying. Having uni.
Oh, what the fuck? What? Well, I mean, hold on a second.
So maybe what they're saying is after
sea
you
urchins
eat,
have like a certain thing to them that makes them very, very well sought after in China and Japan, and with like,
they also eat monkey brains.
touche, but they pay a lot more money for the sea urchins.
Isn't it weird the shit that we eat?
Not the shit that, well, okay, hold on. I can't say not the shit that we eat. Yeah, we eat some weird shit, but
Like McDonald's.
people eat some weird shit. Let's
Yeah.
just say that.
And it's like cultural. You know, in some
there's
countries.
fucking there's Michelin restaurants that serve fucking roaches.
You're right.
It's strange.
It is strange. It goes back to that like emotion that humans put into things, and we hold things in high regard that like to other people are like with lobster. Apparently at one point lobster was like considered like the cockroach of the ocean.
It is.
It was like what poor people ate.
I mean, well, okay, so
But then all of a sudden,
if it crawls on the fucking ground and eats whatever it can get a hold of on the ground,
is
it is
cockroach?
a fucking parasite.
when did lobsters become highly sought after? The history of gourmet lobster. Lobster had become a commodity instead of a nuisance. Prices began surging in the 1880s. When did lobster become popular? Prices began surging in the 1880s after World War II. Lobster was considered a delicacy. due to its new status. It's so funny that things can just change. Like, you used to think it's gross, and now it's a fucking delicacy.
Not to pull it off topic, but
Don't do it.
still a little bit on topic. Did you know that lobsters only die because they get crushed by their shells? They stop molting.
Really? I know people like that.
Ha 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 ha. So lobsters will keep on growing so long as they're able to molt their old shell and grow the new shell, right?
Right.
But there will be a point in time where the shell won't molt fast enough for the growth, and they'll literally die because of, just being constricted by the shell.
Yeah.
So to say if somebody were to assist this lobster to continuously molt its shell, it would continuously grow. It won't die. It would literally just keep growing. So,
Excuse me 1 second.
go on.
What, baby?
Well,
We're having a little technical difficulty downstairs. So you're saying, okay, got it. All right. So you're saying that if a lobster were to be helped to molt, that it could become the size of an elephant.
so no, even bigger. They found
Even bigger?
They found giant fucking lobsters before.
I got one here. Guinness World Records, largest lobster caught. This is caught. 44 pounds.
fucking giant lobsters. So they will not die unless they cannot get out of their shell. If we assisted one of these older lobsters to molt and continuously grow that shell back, it would continue to grow in size. So long as it's in its water and eating whatever it needs to eat and nothing's fucking with it. Once it gets to a certain size, nothing can really fuck with it.
But the shell could still not molt when it gets to that size. It would need to be assisted.
It would need to be assisted until it got to a point where it was strong enough to be able to break through whatever shell it has at that point in time. There would be a point in time where its age would be a definite factor into its dying. But once it gets to a certain size and its mass is its main strength, basically its mass is outdoing its shell, then it doesn't need the assistance anymore. Then it could just keep on molting, because the shell is just constantly breaking.
And you're saying you think it could get bigger than
That
a fucking
motherfucker,
elephant.
I feel like we
Huge.
can. I feel like if we were to do that for like 20, 25 years, get it to a certain size,
Have
and,
some little shop of horrors.
and then just like let it grow from there on by itself, because it doesn't need our help for 24 or after 25 years. We can have a new god.
Lobster god.
We can have a new god.
I like to use that analogy of the lobster shell to friends who are having a challenge in their life. It's an analogy I'd heard before about growth.
They just need the molds.
Well, it's what it is that a lobster cannot grow a new shell until it gets too uncomfortable in its old shell because it's outgrowing it.
Yep.
And the pressure of the shell on the outside is what triggers the molting process. So it's like we need pressure, pain, and uncomfortability to grow. I think it's such a great analogy. It's where growth comes from. And often in our this day and age, we avoid pressure and challenge and uncomfortability at all costs. Some people, the scariest thing after public speaking is change, right? But it's where growth comes from, and it's so important.
Put yourself in uncomfortable situations in order to make them comfortable.
Yes.
That's what I tell my wife all the time.
Yeah, and it's hard, right? Because it feels like you're stepping off a ledge. But there's something amazing about human beings that when we step off that ledge, we learn that we can fly. And you have to have the bravery enough to know I'm going to fly, and that's the same way. It's a way a bird learns to fly, right? Don't the parents literally push it out of the fucking nest?
See, the way I learned was instead of stepping off of that ledge and learning to fly, I looked at that wall and I said, I can be the wrecking ball and crash through it. That's how I like to do it.
I like that, man.
That's how I like to do it.
I like that. I've come to times in my life where I felt like it was all falling apart, and then I look back and I realize it was my shell coming off.
When things start to fall apart, the best thing to do is to get those pieces and start building back up.
Yeah. Yeah, well said, man.
It takes pieces to be able to build.
Yeah, well said. Well fucking said. Maybe we should end on that note.
All right.
Nick, you are an incredible young man. I'm glad for the friendship that we've built. I love you, bud.
I love you too, man.
Thank you for doing this.
Oh, thank you for having me.
Let's continue this conversation in the future. We can sit down, shoot the shit, maybe talk about fucking the madness that happens after these upcoming elections. Right? It's gonna be weird. So
Do we even
sit back down.
before we end? Do we even know who the fuck is running?
So there's a lot of speculation. So some people say that DeSantis might run. Some people think that what's his name, Pence.
How old is DeSantis?
He's young, but here's a lot of things people don't.
They
He's
won't
old
let him-
enough. Yeah,
he's old enough? Okay.
A lot of people don't realize about DeSantis. He's also a veteran, right? He was in the military. I think we have slightly different beliefs on some of this COVID shit, right? Which this is sidebar. This is the thing that the media won't tell you, that people are allowed to have slightly different opinion about things and still be dear friends.
Yeah.
Like we can agree to disagree on certain things, right? We still love each other, but the world tells us that if you don't agree with us, then, and like we'll go back to like Hakuna or any local watering hole. There's people
I
of
like this is now called the watering hole.
right? This is right. So, but people come together, and people don't hate each other because they think something differently. It's like, I guess I see how Blake thinks about things, and maybe I don't agree with it that way, but I know that I fucking love being around him, or vice versa, But anyway, I'm grateful the way DeSantis ran the state of Florida because I'm a business owner, right? So my perception on it was
don't get me wrong. I'm grateful for the way that he ran Florida as well. I'm as having a family during COVID and fucking having to sustain everything, being able to stay open was phenomenal.
Right.
So don't get me wrong. I absolutely love the way that he was running things, but there may be a couple things that I don't agree with. But not going to stop me from voting for the man if he's doing everything that's going to benefit us.
Right.
So, I hated Trump, but I'm still going to say that he was fucking great in my pocket.
Yeah, and I respect you for saying that, because a lot of people will not say the good that came from something that they don't like, right? But there has to be, life is about finding silver linings.
George Bush was a fucking idiot, but I was young as shit. I know George Bush was an idiot, but he was still fucking extremely well off for the economy.
Yeah,
let's just say that.
He was dumb.
Fuck, as a bat, box of fucking rocks.
Have you seen his art?
Yo.
I'm not gonna, I don't know what your thoughts on it are, but I'm actually surprised at what a fucking artist he is. Wait a minute, have you seen it? Hold on.
The only reason I laugh is because of all the things that he did wrong, there's one thing he did right, and it was be an artist.
Dude, his art is like really impressive. If you guys who are watching or listening haven't seen George Bush's paintings,
they're fairly so fucking good. It's so fucking weird how George W. Bush has art skills.
He should have been an artist instead of a president, man.
Fuck.
Yeah, it's unreal. You guys look that up. Anyway, so DeSantis could run for president. DeSantis could have a, what would be great?
Tell me Sanders isn't. Tell me he stopped trying.
No, I'm pretty sure Bernie's still. The thing is that the Democratic Party is railroading Bernie because I think he's, I don't know what's going on there. He is a socialist. Why do we have this push for socialism and communism?
Okay, hold on a second. Don't get me wrong, and I don't want to sound weird. But what's so bad about what is yours is mine, and what is mine is yours, and what is his is ours, and what is ours is his?
Well, here's what's bad about it, is that some people are lazy. Some people are not willing to go and work for what's theirs.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
And other people are incredibly driven and motivated and have fucking worked their ass off 100 hours a week for years to build financial freedom, and that shouldn't be given to lazy people, unfortunate people.
What if we smack it to the people that have way too much fucking money on their hands? Like the dumb rich fucks in Congress that have just been sitting in their fucking offices writing signatures and making thousands upon thousands of dollars a month.
Hundreds of millions of dollars. Hundreds of millions. What's her name? Nancy Pelosi is worth hundreds of millions of dollars. She only gets paid $200,000 a year. Not only, that's a lot of money.
I feel like what is theirs is ours.
Oh, that, I mean, in that case,
good.
I'll take it. But my thing is you know me and my wife, we're entrepreneurs. We're trying to carve a path in our own life and use our our love for humans and our love for creating culture to create financial freedom for ourselves.
You're doing fucking phenomenal.
Thank you.
Phenomenal. And you're creating a place that people can come over here and feel like it's theirs as well.
Right.
So like that's
and if we are able to
great.
make money while we do that, it's win-win, right?
Yeah.
And we'd like to give back to our community, and we're creating experiences for people.
I feel like we should just be communists for the super rich people.
But there's like, when you talk about socialism, there are certain socialist aspects of our existence now that are great, like the fire department. The fire department is a socialist service, right? Could you imagine if firefighting was privatized?
I don't want to imagine that.
Right. So, that we can all agree on, but I think, I don't know.
Imagine if the police was privatized.
Yeah, that would be fucking scary. I couldn't imagine
like
being a
is.
police officer. I'm so grateful for the good ones, There's bad apples in every bunch. The problem is that thin blue line. Like, too many cops are afraid to speak up against their bad cops.
I'll say 3 out of every 10 cops are bad. 3 out of every 10 cops are good.
You think it's that many?
Because some of them are bad, they just don't want to admit it or haven't been caught yet.
Yeah, the problem is that it's easier to be a police officer than it is to get into our military. So there's like a lot of police officers who wanted to be in the military.
It's a lot easier to benefit as a police officer than it is to benefit from the military as well. You're put into a position of power and you're surrounded by civilians at a constant rate as a police officer in comparison to being in the military, because you're surrounded by superiors and cohorts.
Yeah, but it's still a very dangerous job.
Oh yeah, absolutely. There's fucking shitheads out and about all fucking day long, but still, you give a peasant power,
right?
And it's going to go one of two ways.
Who wanted to be in the military, they go to basic training and they don't cut it. Right now they're like, oh, I have to be a fucking cop, So imagine the chip they have on their shoulder, Well, that being said,
imagine the kid that was being picked on all his fucking all his life in middle school and high school, and then he finally
gets a badge.
He goes to the gym, gets some muscles, gets a badge, and then all of a sudden has a bunch of power, and he runs into these fuckers that were in his hometown picking on him later on in life. Yeah. How do you think he's going to feel?
Right. Well, I think if those numbers are real, and I understand that's an estimate.
That's just my opinion.
Right, your opinion. But then it's even more commendable for the 3 of the 10 good ones, right?
Absolutely.
To be standing up for the moral, morality and whatnot. So shout out to the good ones. Shout out to all the good ones. Anyway, Nick, if people want to follow your happenings and see what the fuck you're up to, can they do that on social media?
Goth Guy Smiles on Instagram, Nick Ayala on Facebook. Come and check me out. Also, make sure to follow Glass Chamber West Palm Beach so you can see exactly what I do on a daily basis and what we've got in store for you. And do me a favor and like, share, and follow my beautiful wife's page. It's Tart's Toy Factory, Tessa's Arts. She's also Broken Pins on Instagram and Tessa Gardner on Facebook. Please, please, please support small business. And last but not least, be sure to come on out here to Hakuna Kava. We have Flow Fridays every last Friday of every month, and we have all kinds of different events going on about. We have open mic nights, we've got karaoke, we've got poker, we've got video game tournaments starting up soon. All kinds of stuff just for you. Come on by and have a great time. Have a great time. Sunday.
Well, thank you, buddy, for that plug. Yeah, make sure you follow Nick. Make sure you follow Tessa. Go check them out at Glass Chamber. We appreciate you guys being a fly on the wall during this conversation. If you like what you heard, like, comment, subscribe, click all the buttons, do all the things. Remember, every day the universe grants you a fresh start, a clean slate to create the life you want to create. Don't bring the frustrations and disappointments of yesterday into today's party. This is your ride. Ride the shit out of it.
You are your own power.
Love you guys.
You are your own source of inspiration. You are your own drive. You can do it. I believe in the you that believes in me that believes in you.
Boolah.
Boolah.
Thank you, brother. That was fantastic.